Yo, how's it going, everyone? What up? How's it going, people? What is everyone up to this Tuesday? How have we been? That is not what I'm looking for. What is everything? There we go. Let's start with that. No, not that one. With that one. If dog shit has a PS logo, Pony's wool cap is better than Xbox. Why so serious? They are hyping this up like the second coming of Christ. My God, if this doesn't like wow everyone, it's gonna be a bloodbath. I can tell you that now. Hey, Tall Guy Gaming UK, how's it going? Hey, what's up, little man? You done already? Oh, that was quick. That really was quick. They're calling all those third parties first party now. All of them are first party now. I mean, Hellblade 2 could be good on PC, right? So what has everyone been up to? How's your weekend been? What have you been playing? How has your gaming sessions been? And are you looking forward to the PlayStation 5 showcase? Apparently there's going to be a lot of first party there, though. There is going to be a lot of first party games. Riak? I mean, if you go to King Fresh, he probably wouldn't put it past him. Have you heard about the bug in Suicide Squad game? You could literally buy it, install it, press start, and you've instantly completed it. Then you could get your money back. Yeah, I saw that. That was a bad start for that game. Hey, Chris, Lord Blue X, JH Cola, how's it going? You know, I really want to play that game. Oh, that's not a good way to start. It's not a good way to start. But I really want to play that game. Robocop. I'll get round to it one day. Edward! Welcome, Edward. Army of Ruin. I mean, ultimately, if you've got a powerful enough PC and the game is available on PC, that is the place to play. As long as the port is good, because no one wants to play Last of Us on PC. Is he? I'll definitely reach out. I have tried reaching out to him multiple times. I'll reach out to him again. I'll try and send him a X DM or something because I'm not in his Discord and see if we can come up with something that could be good because I only have to get riled up a little bit before I'm probably worse than he is when it comes to roasting people. Like I said in my previous video, if you've seen it, my original draft for the Red Dragon video was so bad that my kid basically went in and edited it out, and that was the edited form. And he goes, I've removed all the stuff that would get you banned. He just goes, Dad, the video's ready. And I go, let's check it. Let me check it out. And I go, where did all that stuff go? And he goes, yeah, that's the stuff that would get you banned. So we've taken that part out. Oh, where is Power Boss? Ah, but we do have a lot to get through today. Seeing as tomorrow is going to be, you know, not a very nice day for me. Hey, Jamala, we don't talk about that. We do not talk about that, Jamala. That's good, Lord Blue. That's good. That's good. I got my new capture card today, which I'm going to install over the weekend. Got a new Elgato thing sent to me as well by my sponsor for, the Stream Deck. So I need to get that set up and programmed. So that's going to actually help me out a lot with just switching between scenes and whatnot. So that's actually really cool. I've got a few bits and bobs also sorted out as well for like co-hosting stuff properly, so that's gonna be nice as well. So things are getting better. Things are getting better. I don't know what you're talking about, George. The Steam Deck was hard to record on OBS, but was good on the video capture. Yeah, for sure. Man, why am I so tired? I did have a long day today. So just today, right? Because I'm actually gonna. This actually is gonna lead into the first topic that I'm talking about. So this morning I started work, my actual 9 to 5 job, and a project manager reaches out and says, "Hey, your colleague is on holiday today, and I really need this looked at today. It has to go live today." And I said, "Okay, send it over to me. What do you need?" We just need these URLs replacing for YouTube videos. And I said, all right, cool. It took me an hour to log into the CMS, mind you, because I couldn't find the login details. But once I got in, I was like, you know what? Where the hell has she organized everything? The pages aren't where they're supposed to be. So through reverse engineering, I managed to find everything. I updated everything, and I said, cool, here it is on staging. And so the project manager goes, okay, let me check it out. Everything's great, but hold on. Let me go to the client and see if they're okay with it. Okay, so the client wants one more thing done. I said, okay. They want this and this done. Okay, so I get that done. I send it back. They go, okay, let me send it to the client to see if they want. I mean, you can see where this is going, right? This was supposed to be a 20-minute job. 6 hours later, they were still adding tasks onto the job. A 20-minute job turned into 6 hours. It's crazy. It's crazy. A 20-minute job. Hey, Remy. I'm good. How's you? But this actually leads perfectly into, the first point I want to actually talk about today. And surprise, it is with what Alex is saying here. Where he's saying, someone said here, content creation is harder than most jobs, and 99% of people can't handle it. And Alex says, no, it isn't, and I'm sick of people saying otherwise. Now, this statement here is a two-pronged statement because as someone that's indie, doing both, I can tell you my job is definitely harder than what I have to do on YouTube, without a shadow of doubt. But I think what a lot of people fail to realize, those that actually want to make YouTube a primary source of income, is that unlike my 9 to 5 job, where at 5 o'clock I switch off and that's it, I don't care, I don't take work home with me. With YouTube, that mental anguish of not releasing a video that day is in your mind 24/7. It's a 24/7 job. It never stops. It never turns off. It never sleeps. So the mental impact that it has is quite heavy on the person. So maybe Alex isn't kind of factoring that in much. And considering, he's a really successful YouTuber at the moment with 60,000 subs, it's a little easier for him. Let's see what chat is saying. Out of curiosity, is there a best method for when a merger happens? Is there perhaps that people won't lose any job? Nope, there is not, J. Cola. None at all. But instead, relocated, there's no best time to do it. At the end of the day, jobs are going to be lost, whether people like it or not, because those duplicate roles are going to go. Now, what Activision did, what Bobby Kotick did, was hired 7,000 staff during the final year, knowing that some of that was going to be collateral damage. He did that deliberately, right? He did that purposefully, probably as the last screw you, or a last way of increasing share prices. I have no idea what he was doing, because he knew that a lot of those were, a good chunk of that was going to get cut. He knew. But he still hired 7,000 people during a year when the merger was taking place. So that's a bit weird. How are you tonight? I am good. A little tired, but I'm very good and excited to be here to chat video games with you all and trash PlayStation. Your work simply inspired them to seek even more changes to make it better. Don't do such a good job next time. If you make them suffer, they won't ask for more. Oh no, you haven't met this client. This client, they don't celebrate Christmas, right? So they contacted us on Christmas Day and said, hey, we need this done today. And so we said, it's a public holiday today. And we don't care if it's a public holiday. We want it done. And so we're like, well, no one's working today, so you can't get it done. You'll have to wait for 2 days when we're back in the office. Well, at least those people that will be back in the office. And we told them in advance that we close from the 22nd of December to the 2nd of Jan. Nope, they didn't care. They ended up contacting the CEO, our CEO, who kind of gave them the same response. So they overstepped her and contacted the parent company CEO in America. And then they contacted our CEO and told him to get it done. Yeah, they don't care. They make our life a living hell every step of the way. I wish, Xcoin. I wish. Plot twist, the client was secretly the Red Dragon. He just wanted to make your life hell. You probably ain't far off, Adti. You probably ain't far off. Oh, it's Doken Rhymestyle. I have no idea who that Rhymestyle guy is. I'm just saying that I think what he's saying here, if he's using the context that I think he is, I spend hours looking for videos to make. Something that I can make a video on, I can talk about sometimes. And it's, sometimes it just consumes my whole night looking for a story to talk about. Because I want my channel to grow. I want it to, evolve. I want it to get bigger. I want it to get to a point where it can self-sustain me. It can be something I can rely on and go full time. Right now, that is not possible. It's impossible in its current state. But, I'm hoping over the next year or two, and, during that transition over the year or two, if the channel continues to grow, I'm probably going to bring my eldest son into it as well and get him involved with some stuff. So hopefully things will just get bigger and better. But until that time, I can't tell them to shut up because I need that job to pay for my bills. Make a 20 to 30 minute job into a career. Oh boy, there's loads of comments. Loads of comments. Let's blitz through these comments. I completely agree with you, the YouTube thing. It's always on my mind. Yeah, it's a 24/7 thing, man. The hardest part is for Luddites like me learning how to run OBS without issues. That's impossible, Colt. There will always be issues. Trust me. I've been streaming, I've been using OBS for 2 years, and there probably hasn't been a day that hasn't gone by where I've not had issues. It's a horrible piece of software, but it's all we've got. Try 11 hours nights at an airport is a killer. Don't get a chance to game often. Tall guy, I know what you mean. I mean, when I used to work at Sega, there was times where I had to do like 24-hour shifts. They were horrible. And I was on the early shift, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. But once it gets to crunch time, as a senior member, I had to pretty much put the hours in, especially on submission night. You'd start at like 7 a.m. in the morning, your normal time, and you'd finish the next morning by about 7 pretty much 7 a.m. the next morning. I remember games that I was testing and working on and whatnot. Submission nights are by far the most difficult crunch time, and you just have to plow through. So, working the graveyard shift as well. I think I did that for about 2 months at Sega. I had to change back. I just couldn't do it. So, for those of you that do the graveyard shift, respect, man. I know you generally work 4 days, but still. Rabbi, I am good. And the fact that there are jobs to be cut and fuss savings to be realized is one of the attractions of mergers. Yes and no. I mean, the job cuts are a sad side effect. That's it. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Can you stream tomorrow, Wednesday? I don't have the game yet. I need to pick the game up. Tomorrow I'm streaming Gollum as the the channel, the people in this chat have decreed that they want me to suffer, so they've decreed that I will stream Gollum tomorrow. So definitely won't be tomorrow. People need to understand that Microsoft had no say about Activision until the deal was completed. ABK and any games in development before Microsoft acquired them is all on Bobby. That is correct. I'm hyped for tomorrow's direct for the PC port announcements. Leave, man. I mean, if you upload, where is it? I mean, if you upload every day and start getting subs and followers, you can't stop putting vids out every day. And there's stress in figuring out what you're gonna post the next day. That's why I've tried to do React videos, even if they're not like to everyone's liking. Jamala, they're decent enough, and they're kind of filler content that people like to listen to, like to watch, like to check out. They're not as popular as my other videos, but they still get a couple thousand views, and they're nice little fillers to go in. Speaking of Red Dragon, I'm watching his posts. He ain't coming out of the woodwork at all. Tomorrow, Rabbi, it will be a Gollum. When I was in my fast food place, for me, I was doing 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. sometimes. I've responded 3 times now, Rabbi. Alexander, I wish I worked 4 days, but I work 5. Ouch. If you work night shift, at least in the UK, you're supposed to work 4. Thursday is possible. If I'm not overly busy or if I'm not doing something different, then Thursday is possible. Are you doing Gollum or after the direct? Before. I'd watch all of that for Gollum too. Gutted about Juice X dying in the vine. Yeah. So, some people have noticed that Metal Gear Solid Delta has started to download. It is a 300 megabyte. It is just the preload file that will trigger the full download when the game lands. It is not the actual game. The full game is not 324 megabytes. I can assure you. Even indie games are bigger than that. So if you think that, I get Karim got ahead of himself here, the full Metal Gear Delta is going to be bigger than 320. I mean, it could very well be. I mean, at the end of the day, Stalker's pre-download was available last year, so this just doesn't mean anything. Honestly, it means absolutely nothing. So I wouldn't take that with anything until it's officially announced. But for those of you that are hanging about and looking at J-Dub, even though he has blocked me, I still managed to grab this nugget. There's a state of the play happening tomorrow, and my dude is still fantasizing and licking up those Xbox games, you know, proper like a tongue full, licking them, kissing them, caressing them, probably shoving his ding dong up there as, you know, inside the box to try and get some extra playtime. But, you know, he is actually right now just lavishing, thirsty, hungry for those Xbox games. And this is on the eve of a, you know, state of play. That's all I'm saying. There's a state of play happening, and my dude is still dreaming about Xbox games. And lol, J-Dub, always knew you were a big Xbox fan at heart. Good times, good times. Yeah, Silent Hill 2 is also this year, so I doubt it will have an MGS remake too. I mean, it could leave some, one at the beginning, one at the end. Or one in the middle, one at the end. It's a big enough distance. J. Cola, you could say the same thing about me. Then again, I don't know how old J-Dub is, but I'm not exactly a spring chicken, even though the beard does cover up my age a little bit. 300 megabyte? That's not even a cutscene. Exactly, Jemana. Gonna put more hours into Starfield than the entire PlayStation library if it comes to me. Already one of the biggest PlayStation publishers. That will continue. The only question is over what games to share, but Microsoft won't abandon the console anytime soon. Look, we are going to lose some games. There is no denying that, right? We were discussing this in the previous stream. We're going to lose some games. I don't think it will be any first party games. I don't think it will be any tentpole games. But that all can change, right? I gave a hypothetical situation on Saturday when I streamed some Power World. And, you know, let's just say Hi-Fi Rush does go to PlayStation. That will fulfill Microsoft's promise to the FTC, the CMA, and Judge Corley that not all games will be exclusive, and that game by, you know, case by case, they will review the games and put them on other platforms. So when Microsoft go to buy another publisher, because apparently Sega is apparently up for grabs and Sony's going for them, apparently the music studio is going for Sega at the moment. I mean, that's the rumor anyway, by someone who is generally quite wrong. But the hypothetical scenario I put up was, what if the game sells 15 million day one? Will Microsoft then turn around and say, man, this is a AA game, I wonder what a AAA game will do? Or will they just continue saying, great, this is good, let's see what other AA games we can put on there? It's a good question, right? Something we'll never know. I did not, but I know there's a new update that's there. I need to update my game and actually go back to it because the update is coming in February and I'm nowhere near finishing the game. I actually have faith in the state of play. Sony got burned by their last showcase, the last two showcase, Sepho. Who knows, Leaf Storm? That is a good question, but I think they will. I think they should send Sea of Thieves. That studio will have a chance to reach more users. Games like Sea of Thieves make sense to be multi-plat. Right, Sea of Thieves makes sense to be multi-plat. You want more people playing that game. The only time it doesn't make sense to be multiplayer is if it's not crossplay. If they don't enable crossplay, there is literally no reason to put that onto the PlayStation. The passion is along. We'll get to it in a little bit. But I thought this was quite funny. Here's more of a studio. Maybe, but I think Konami's all over the place at the moment. Give that Redfall, Sanchez. Man, you're brutal. You are brutal. Jeez, you are brutal. Although it's a good game now. You guys should check it out. I'm not just saying that just because you're making me suffer tomorrow. So if you haven't seen, the MSI Claw handheld gaming PC Intel has been priced at $700 to $800 for the top end model. It has 32 gigs of RAM, which is actually really, really good. We don't have any benchmarks yet, so we don't really know how it runs. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how this compares with the Asus ROG. For those of you that are into your handheld PCs, I think it'll be really, really interesting. Konami is being pretty dumb, but they do have a lot of IP. They have a lot of IP, but having the IP doesn't mean that you're going to make a good game. You need the developers that made that game what it was to be part of the deal. And as we're seeing in Embracer Group, it ain't going well, man. They thought about doing the same thing, and now they're all over the place. But if they send Hi-Fi Rush, would Phil be breaking his word on ZeniMax games? Well, it's really weird because originally Phil said with the ZeniMax it will be a case-by-case basis. Then he changed and said something else. Where Game Pass exists, ZeniMax games will exist. So which is it? He kind of made both statements. And then he made the same statement with ABK, a case-by-case basis. But yes, theoretically, he would be breaking his promise because he superseded the case-by-case with the Game Pass and ZeniMax statement. Hi-Fi is not a legacy title, no. Dwayne Morse, very much so. Also, thank you very much for that care package, Dwayne. Everything arrived. I'll be installing it on the weekend. That 4K capture card is going to do wonders, so thank you very much, dude. And I was not expecting the Stream Deck, so that actually really, really surprised me, dude. Seriously. I was really surprised that you threw that in there. I was not expecting that at all. So thank you very much. How much more stronger is the MSI compared to stuff like ROG besides the RAM? We just don't know. House cleaning it? An expensive one, yeah. We don't know at the moment. I mean, we know that the specs are there, but like for example, the Lenovo Go specs wise is more powerful than the Asus ROG, but the Asus ROG outperforms it in almost every test, unless you push it to the highest TDP wattage. But no one wants to be running that because you'll have no battery life. But this does also have an eGPU, so you can plug like a 4090 into it if you really want to. He said case by case. He just spent 69 million. They need to get a return of interest on all their purchases at this point. Yes and no. React, because they've made their money already. Just by assets, as long as Activision remains profitable, the assets from Activision are now worth even more. During the FTC case, the FTC wanted to outline how much how much more valuable those assets were, and they actually let rip the number, and then it got redacted really quickly. And they apologized for saying the number, which Phil got really annoyed with on stand. But it wasn't clear, and outside of the people that were there on the day that heard, I'm guessing maybe Judge Corley said for no one to say anything and made them swear not to reveal that number. I don't know what that number was, but we do know it was over 100 million. So once the transaction of Activision and Blizzard closed, Microsoft would have inherited over a billion, in value. So the 69 billion that they invested, they would have made around 30 billion plus in profit. So that's huge. So in terms of recovering their assets, their money, asset wise, whatever they invested into Activision Blizzard, they pretty much got back and then some. You don't see Sony putting God of War or Last of Us on Xbox. They're not stupid and know that will diminish the value and need for a PlayStation console. For 100%. Hearing the fans blowing in performance mode is normal, but in turbo mode is too much. Yeah. But I want to see how this is going to run, because I might pick one up one day. After I move, of course, because right now that is it's crazy. Yeah, it was like 100 billion. But if they've spent 69 billion and they've made 100 billion, they've already made their money, right? But whatever this topic is tiring, nothing has happened. Until it does, we should have... Yeah, I think at this point, talking about the whole putting stuff on other platforms, we just need to wait and see what's happening. Because until it does, it's all just gossip. Yeah, I heard about that with the ROG Ally, but one thing I just like for Lenovo too is the Switch controllers and the 1600p screen for older games, including emulation. No, I get that, Leafstorm. It's just drivers, by the way. It's not that the Lenovo Go is a bad handheld. It's that the drivers itself are just not very well optimized for it. Now Microsoft can buy Disney. They could fix them. Yeah, probably not. You don't see Sony doing anything until 4 years after Xbox. I mean, you have to hand it to Apple, though. They played everyone like a fiddle. Microsoft's already made profit by adding ABK. They didn't buy ABK. They swapped 70 billion of idle cash for over 100 billion of assets and IP and ongoing revenue streams. Exactly, Edward. That is exactly it. For me, since Sony put their games on PC too, it's not made me want to get their consoles at all. If that can run Last of Us Part 1 at 30 FPS, I'm fine. They've got a bargain price thanks to Bobby Kotick. Pity about what happened there to make the price drop though. Yeah. Ignoring layoffs, they made profits being conservative with their money. They did. If nothing else, the next few months should prove to be interesting. I give little credence to rumors on Twitter. Hey, you gotta give my rumors some credence, right? I became an insider for a day. After the PlayStation Showcase was announced, I made a prediction on when the PlayStation Showcase was going to be. And do you know what? I was 100% right. I even got it right down to the actual time. How many insiders do you know that can do that? Right? Honestly, yes, I know it's good they're hanging on to their exclusives, but they're literally getting wrecked over the coals by Marvel. I mean, yes, Cepho, but at the end of the day, it's still keeping people coming to their platform. It's still selling consoles, and that is exactly what they want. As long as they're selling consoles, then, there's a chance that they can turn the ship around. Don't tell my wife. She'll have you spending money at the racetrack. Are they actually posting the earnings today? I'm not a Twitter warrior. I do make the occasional joke like this, only because he blocked me. But no, not. I'm not like say like the masses like say Karim or Gaz or Peter Ovo, I'm not that active on there. I'll just throw the odd statement out, laugh at people, try to educate people, uh, but people are generally quite dumb. So according to Pokemon fans, they're saying that there is no correlation between these characters. None at all. They are all original and all individual, and none of them have any resemblance at all. Well, J-Dub is an idiot, and yes, I saw that post. on on the Red Dragon, I see a lot of Grum's posts as well. Well, Grums and Red Dragon are of the same hive mind, so Grums is just as bad as the Red Dragon. Maybe give them resemblance as the All-Star. I mean, not really. Dragon, dragon. Bird, bird. Crab, crab. Bomb, bomb. Tiger, tiger. Whatever you want to call these. Dragon, dragon. Flying dragon, flying dragon. Rock, rock. Dumb duck, dumb duck. Well, that's a drugged duck. Rhino, rhino. Seashell, seashell. Snail, snail. Whatever you want to call these. Pincers. A rabbit on drugs. Baby bat on drugs. Papa bat on drugs. And a caterpillar. My point is, if this can get away with it, so can Palworld. If this is okay, so is Palworld. There's actually a lot of instances of both Pokemon and Digimon copying each other over the years, back to back. Like one time, Pokeball copied Digi, and then I've seen that as well, Leafstorm. I've seen that as well. 4:30 p.m. EST. How long is that from now? Does anyone know? Is that in like an hour or so? So Colt is 3:53 p.m. So in half an hour. So we will be live when it happens. Colt Eastwood said this, right? Expect this more and more on consoles as this generation, and no, I don't expect that Pro X mid-gen refreshes will do more than even out already struggling frame rates. Starfield was the start of full current gen, and as you can see here, the highly anticipated Dragon's Dogma 2 is said to be targeting just 30 FPS on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. And so a lot of people right now are really upset about this. Like really, really upset about this. How do you guys feel about it? And by the way, if you guys want to dial in on Discord, we can actually get people into the conversation on Discord. So if you do want to dial in, the link is in the description below. So I can easily just bring you on into the show. So definitely do consider coming to, do consider. I tried it during the first alpha, and then what they came out with, and I absolutely wasn't that impressed. Someone joined our Discord. Though I have no idea who did. Streamer mode is on, so I can't see anything. People seriously need to dial in the on these next gen consoles. Sappho, I agree. Like, I get early on the alpha for Skull and Bones. I was in the alpha for the Skull and Bones, and then whatever the latest one was, and it was still a mess. It's not that Diablo. It's just, you know, I think people expect too much from a $500 console. People expect the world from a $500 console, and they are delusional. They're wanting 4090 graphics with path tracing and ray tracing, and then on top of that, they want cinema-style cinematics with film-like visuals, with, you know, ultra-realistic, you know, sand on the ground, super realistic, you know, facial animations. They want pretty much lifelike presentation, and they want all of that to run at, you know, 16K resolution, not even 8K, but 16K resolution, but they still want that at 120 FPS on a £500 console. There's something a little wrong up here for those people. I'm just saying, you know, wanting, you know, 16K 120 FPS on a £500 console, you know, there's a few screws loose up here. What they need to do, like I've been saying all along, is lower the fidelity, lower the graphics to an acceptable standard, and then push that 60. I'm much happier for games to look a little worse, but run at 60. If you want the best graphical experience while maintaining that 120 FPS, you go build a PC. It's really that simple. You pay the price for a PC, you get it. That's, you know, that's pretty much how it was always, and it's the same now. That's for a PC, buying separate parts for... I mean, like, PC parts are expensive, right? But you don't upgrade them that often. Like, my son's PC, he's got a 2080 Super in there. And I don't know if Viper is still in the chat, but he sent me that during, I think, the Anthem days. Back when Anthem was a thing. He gifted that to me as my, you know, as a sponsor, which I'm still thankful for. And I kind of handed that down to my kid, and that still runs everything he wants at medium to high. And he, like on Power World, for example, right now he's running that on Ultra. He couldn't be any happier, and that graphics card is still doing well. You know, you don't really have to go straight to the highest end graphics cards and processors. I mean, you can, and if you do, they last at least 10 years before you have to upgrade, unless you want the latest and greatest and everything up to the second. No, don't drop. I dropped something. That's not good. What did I drop? Where did I drop it? Oh, there it is. But PCs last a lot longer than people realize. And with DLSS 3 or 4 and FSR 3, they're going to last even longer. People think PC handhelds can do 4K too. Yeah, they're just dumb. I just want 60 FPS. I could care less. Yeah, I agree. Oh, breaking open the console and modifying parts here and there. At that point, it becomes a PC, Lord. At this point, it becomes a PC. What consoles need to do is utilize DLSS and FSR better. And it's something that they don't properly, and they need like proper graphics cards built in. But the moment you get like a proper graphics card in there, the price of that console is going to almost double. I don't even mind if they lower the graphics. MGS5 and a lot of PS4 games look really good. Still, like Arkham Knight, etc. Yeah, Rise looks great. I don't know how they managed to get that great. So I'm still using a 2080 Ti. Yeah, Likos, it's still a good card. Brandon, how you doing, my dude? I am doing great, thank you. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I haven't played it yet, Faded. I haven't played it yet. I decided that I'm not going to jump into the early access. For the PC connoisseurs, I'm close to a micro center. It's a rare PC store and it's PC heaven. Mate, I've always wanted to build a micro PC. Instead, I have... My brother gave me one of these. It's a mini PC, which I'm going to be working with. And essentially making it just a streaming machine so I can let that just deal with the stream itself and have my PC be the workhorse for the actual what is it, for the games, so I can kind of stream comfortably with native games on my PC rather than having trouble sometimes. Depending on how much you're willing to spend, Leaf, they can be really powerful. They're opening a micro center about half an hour from me soon. Kind of stoked. That's good, man. That's good. And welcome, Zrogdal, Brandon, and Borna. Wait, the next Xbox is going to be a handheld? No. I do wish they do actually release a handheld, though. Whole grain bread. Who said the next Xbox will be a handheld? The voice is in my head, whole grain. The voice is in my head. No, just kidding. I'm glad you didn't do early access because it's a disaster. So I've seen that. I've seen that. But hey, at least you would have completed the game and given it back within like 10 minutes. I don't think they're interested in handheld. I don't know. Someone said it. Hey, we all have that voice in our head. Have you seen this? So, for those of you that love your PS5,
your PS5 is too hot. Thank you. What?
that's some dodgy quality video, though. That's like mobile phone shit, man.
Your PS5 is too hot. Thank you. What?
Imagine your PS5 not being able to handle Tekken 8. Oh, man. When is Persona 3 out on Game Pass? February the 2nd, I think. That is one I'm definitely going to play. I've never played the... Actually, that's a lie. I did play the original. But it was one of the ones that the PS3 backwards compatibility didn't work with. I think I got to an open area and every time I tried to... Well, because of the minimap that was on thing, it kept crashing, so I never got to play it. Imagine that on an online ranked game. Ouch. They pissed me... People dissed me saying it's not devs. I was right about the ABK layoffs. They removed a lot of devs. So what devs did they remove, Bonaya? I'm actually curious about this one. Which devs? Oh, we heard about that. Now, how many did they actually remove, though? You're just giving me a percentage. What did they actually remove? And the ones that were removed were the ones that refused to come back to... the majority of them were the ones that refused to come back to the office. They were requested to return to office, to work from the office, and they said no. So... But this is the problem with percentages. If they've got, 4 members of staff and they get rid of 2, that's 50%. If they had 4 members of staff and they remove 3, that's 75%. 40% and 30% is still a big number, don't get me wrong, but it really is it it really does change depending on how many people that team actually had for that department, right? And there's a reason why they're not giving you the actual numbers. Because if that number within Sledgehammer and Toys for Bob was 200 each, they would have reported on that 200 each instead of the percentages. But because the percentages sound a lot worse, they're using percentages to get that clickbait going. Do you see what I mean? Again, I'm not galvanizing or, trying to defend it. I'm just saying that it's not as clear cut as it seems. They are just, fabricating it and twisting it to make it sound as bad as possible. There's a lot of tweets from devs saying they lost their job from ABK. It's not 1900. All customers. You're talking 70% of layoffs being developers, which I find highly improbable. Oh no. I would say, give or take, around 1,200, 1,300, maybe even 1,400 was just senior management. Because they wiped out all of the PR team, all of the finance team, all of the HR team. All of that is gone. Marketing, which is huge, gone. Customer service, gone. Anything that was on top level that was, just below top management. I mean, even the top management went, right? They all went as well. So anything from top down to, say, project management or thing. I mean, don't forget, account managers, all gone. That's a huge number of people, right? Where had chaos gone? Where did I go? Have to remember Microsoft was likely to clear house. And don't forget, right? Let's not forget. Wasn't it everyone wasn't everyone hoping that Microsoft would go in and clear out those people that, was causing that frat boy scenario? I mean, I know that doesn't cover 1,900 people, but people wanted Diablo's developers to be fired as well after season 1. I'm just saying. People, the whole of Twitter was pretty much, the whole of the Diablo community were making videos saying to fire these people because they can't, they're ruining the game and they're damaging the game. And now the same people are crying that these people have lost their jobs? Yeah, no one likes Saints Row. Anyone that says they like Saints Row is lying. That game got absolutely destroyed. Hey, Tally Guy, what do you mean where had chaos gone? A restaurant server refused an 85,000 a year job because she had to work in the office. What's wrong with people? Instead, she's waiting tables in the restaurant. Mate, you give me 85,000 a year, I'll travel to work. Hey, Knights of the Realm, you're new here. Welcome to the stream. Have you heard that Volition from Saints Row team had formed a new small studio and made a co-op develop with Xbox team? I did not. Doesn't firing just happen every day with millions of jobs? I mean, in the case of Microsoft at ABK, they weren't fired, right? They were laid off. That's a totally different thing. Being fired is for gross misconduct. Wait, you liked Saints Row, Diablo? No way. Whole of Twitter changed their minds when it's Microsoft doing it. I agree. I mean, who's talking about Embracer Group, right? Which media outlet is talking about Embracer Group? I miss the days where people would just buy a game and play it and enjoy it. Well, I mean, Twitter warriors are going to be all over the place now, right? I don't know, man. Xbox needs to change their management. They keep firing their best talent and hiring the worst. I mean, who did they get rid of that was their best talent? Bonaya? That, I'm actually intrigued by this one. So, if you want to get onto the chat as well and have a little discussion, we can do that as well. But if you want to just answer there, I'm happy for that as well. More jobs will disappear because of AI at work. They have robots to clean the floors. Tell guy that's inevitable. Once Skynet has rooted itself, unless John Connor comes back from the future, or grows up to be the warrior we need him to be, the hero that we need him to be, we're all doomed anyway. The team that worked on Saints Row reboot is working on an Xbox game. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. I know, right? How they fly off ABK workers and well, that's not good. Hopefully it's not a disaster. I agree. Yes, a new studio and they're focusing on coding more than anything else. Oh, that's a nasty itch. But I mean, like layoffs and firings happen every day though, right? They do. Where I work at the moment, we used to be like a strong 400 tech. We're down to 12. No, that's a lie. We're down to about 5. How much would it be to stream the Tomb Raider remasters? What do you mean, how much would it be? You can... That's confused me, Leastorm. I haven't played the new one. I own it, but I was liking 4. These layoffs didn't only affect ABK, ZeniMax, ABK, and all Xbox layoffs. Yeah, I mean, ZeniMax had layoffs as well, right? People there were replaced as well. Embracer Group are losing money. ABK, they were breaking records and hiring before Microsoft bought them. But why should they keep duplicate jobs? You wouldn't keep someone doing the same job. It doesn't matter how much money they're making. That's totally irrelevant. The reality is, if those jobs are already filled, they are redundant. Therefore, they have to go. You're mixing emotion with business. Business is business, man. That's why, they're saying you don't work with family because you can't get rid of your family. Even if they're sitting there doing nothing and smoking all day, you're still going to pay them because they're family. But if it was the average Tom, Dick, and Joe that just came in for a job, you'd get rid of them without a second thought. Never think of a thing. Dude, how often have I criticized Xbox? You can ask everyone in here. I reckon I'm probably the most vocal when it comes to criticizing Xbox. I even said the customer service layoffs was shit. And that was not needed. That one is the one where I raised the eyebrows. But in a merger situation, that is not, people being made redundant because their roles are already occupied. That is a normal occurrence. You can't change that. No matter how, no one wants to waste money. There's a reason why they're the richest business in the world. They don't waste money. Devs can be made redundant, I can assure you. I've seen multiple developers being made redundant where I work. Devs can always be made redundant. I don't know who told you that devs can't be made redundant. They absolutely can. It depends, right? Their role was made redundant. If they're not hiring for that role, then they can hire who they want. But devs can be made redundant. Even with Xbox layoffs, Xbox will still release 4 first-party exclusives. They will. A lot of criticism and gets it. But so does Sony and PlayStation. I agree. I just laid off 4 people I accidentally bought on Yakuza 7 because I didn't earn enough in my properties to pay them. My chicken stayed though because it was the cheapest. Leafstorm, you are brutal. That's cold, man. Didn't we just go through this? I swear we did. Yeah, we did. That's a duplicate. All right, so tomorrow. You scallywags, have brought this upon me. It is happening tomorrow. I am going to try and go live at 7 p.m. tomorrow. That's the time I'm aiming for. That is roughly 2 hours and 17 minutes before now. That is the time I'm going to aim to go live. Because I think it's at 10 o'clock. We have the state of play here. That's my time. So we will get 3 hours. I'm going to try and get 3 hours of Gollum time in before I lose my mind. And then kind of end the evening off with a state of the play. But that is the plan. 2 hours and 18 minutes before now. Whole grain. So 2 hours before now. 2 hours and 20 minutes before now. Wayne's World, yes. I'll be streaming it right after Gollum. So we'll basically finish Gollum and then watch the state of the play, and then that'll be it. Riak, if you see the super chat there's a super chat goal. If it's met, the community get to pick a game that I play. The first game that they picked was Kong. It was Kong. It was Kong. I'm still suffering emotionally from that day. It was bad. That's how much they want to see me suffer. And so after Kong, instead of a good game, they gave me Gollum. Yeah, Leafstorm. Like I said, that whole thing there is you meet the super chat, I will play whatever game you want. You pick the game. That is how it works. If the super chat goal is met, we will do it. Wayne, it ain't funny. I'm still suffering from that day. So just to be clear, right now it is 9:20 here in the UK. So it would be 2 hours and 20 minutes before now. That is when I'm planning on starting. I am actually going to set up a placeholder tonight before I finish. Well, after I finish streaming, so you can go and click on it for the stream and get it'll send you a notification 15 minutes before the start of the stream. So I recommend you all do that. I was supposed to have that ready now. Unfortunately, I had a really long day at work, as I explained at the beginning. So I just wasn't able to set it up. I couldn't even get a video done during my lunch break because guess what? I didn't even have a lunch break today. So there is that. Yes, Gollum was voted on. I have waited a long, long time for you to play one of 2023's Game of the Year. I am deeply and grimly sad that Hitman is leaving from Game Pass. It should be cheaper to buy though, right? It should have a heavy discount on there. So worth checking out. Baby steps. Look, Tall Guy, don't give them ideas, man. You don't need to give them ideas. You don't need to do that, man. I can think of worse games than Kong. Yeah. No, you don't need to, Edward. You don't need to. Yeah, Taz isn't here. You can't rely on Taz Seth Zero. Is there a worse game than Kong? I hope not. I can't wait for Hyper Rush and Sea of Thieves to be announced coming to my PlayStation. Hey, J Gaming, how's it going, bro? Xbox going full party. You're wishing, buddy, you're wishing. How's it going, J Gaming? How do you mentally prepare to play such highly rated games? Lots of mental gymnastics. A lot of mental gymnastics. Hey Jay, you're still craving for those Xbox games, man. You can't be like J Dub now. Come on, you gotta be looking forward to your state of the play tomorrow. I mean, unless that's gonna be a thing, unless that's gonna bomb out again like the last two, because the last two have been crackers, right? I know you are, Jay. You're good. You're good. No, Sea of Thieves is definitely going to go to PS5. I think it is. Hi-Fi Rush, I think it'll probably. Oh God, Superman 64. Well, you know, we don't do emulation. We can't do emulation live. Nintendo will hunt me down. But those rumors, a new Tomb Raider is in the works. But there's room. I didn't hear about a new one in the works, but I do know that the remakes are coming. Poor beggar. Jay, what have you done? What have you done, my man? Baby Steps is going to be the Chaos Lounge premiere. Oh God. Green Goblin, isn't there a Spider-Man hunting you down somewhere or something? Yes, boys, keep your hopes intact. PlayStation won't release any. uh, I hope you had a good. I hope you enjoyed it, dude. It's all a bit of good fun. Good to see you had a good laugh. God of War is coming to Xbox. Damn straight it is. Yeah. Just look. If I've played Kong and I'm playing Gollum, at least not Quantum Error, right? Come on, chat. Come on, chat. What if there was a Superman 64 PC port? Leaf, what happened? You were talking about Tomb Raider just now. Why are you doing this to me? Are they out? Are they actually out? Master Chief Collection on Steam is $10. That's actually a really good deal. If you're not on Game Pass and you don't have it, you should pick that up. There is a lot of great stuff there for you to play. Hey, there's a lovely game for you PS5 players, right? Tomsy Warren, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Tommy! Need to bring you on sometime, Jay. Have a good discussion. Maybe get Gaz on as well or someone. Have a nice freeway discussion. Microsoft's Q2 2024 fiscal earnings. Windows OEM revenue up 11%. Device revenue down 9%. That makes sense. Gaming revenue up 49%. Xbox content and services revenue up 61%. Well, at least the hardware revenue is in the plus, right? It's in the plus at least. It's how long is this article? It's not too long. We can quickly go over it. All right, let's go over it. Microsoft just posted a second quarter of its 2024 fiscal financial results. The software maker made 62 billion in revenue. That is as much as it paid for goddamn Activision Blizzard, and a net income of 21.9 billion. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Do you think if I appeal to Phil, he might send me like 1 million of that? I could really do it right now just to, find a place to live. I am being made homeless and all. Do you think you think he'd actually give me 1 million? He didn't see my comment there. You had a comment there? Which one? Hey, look, Xbox killing it. Where's your comment? Clute. Up 3%, we're getting there. Ah, that's you. For one, is that you? All right, let's get back to this. Revenue is up 18% and net income has been increased by 33%. This is the first quarter Microsoft is reporting earnings as a $3 trillion company, and also the first time the company has reported additional revenue from its Activision Blizzard acquisition. While Office and cloud revenue remain strong, devices revenue from Surface sales has continued to decline this quarter, with Windows bouncing back after a slow period for the PC market. Microsoft did warn that devices revenue would decline against this quarter, and it's down 9%. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said PC market unit volumes were at roughly pre-pandemic levels, so it's likely that Surface simply hasn't recovered as well. That's despite Microsoft launching its new Surface Laptop Studio 2, Surface Laptop Go 3, and even the Surface Go 4, which all of them are overpriced. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Microsoft's devices revenue also includes HoloLens and PC accessories, and revenue has been declining for more than 12 months now. Also, the aspect ratio of their laptops is horrible. Absolutely horrible. It's a weird resolution, aspect ratio. But, HoloLens and PC accessories declining. The HoloLens is probably bringing them a lot of money with that military contract. Windows is doing better though. OEM revenue, the price that PC manufacturers pay Microsoft to put Windows on laptops and PCs, is up 11% this quarter, which is good. Windows OEM revenue has suffered throughout Microsoft's entire 2023 fiscal year, but this is now 2 consecutive quarters of growth compared to 5 consecutive quarters of declines for devices revenue, which is, that's where Microsoft excels anyway, software. Shame about the new Deus Ex, they've cancelled it. Yeah, we're going to cover that in a bit. If you need 1 million for a place to live, you need to move. Hey, no, I didn't say I need 1 million for a place to live, Diablo. I just wanted to, I'm going to buy a property for like 400k because that's pretty much what they cost here in London. And then I'll just have the rest to live on and I don't have to pretty much work, because I'll probably buy like another property or 2 smaller properties, rent those out and let the rent from those pay for themselves while it also pays for my mortgage. Well, I won't have a mortgage because I'll have paid that off outright. So happy days, right? Speaking of devices, all eyes are on the Microsoft Gaming division for the company's latest earnings. Microsoft is now reporting Activision Blizzard revenue as part of its gaming unit, bolstering overall revenues in Xbox content. Xbox content and services revenue, which includes Xbox Game Pass, is up by a massive 61% thanks to the Activision and Blizzard acquisition. That's largely because of the ABK revenues, so it's difficult to understand immediately how Xbox did without this giant addition. And you know what? You'll never find out. That's never going to be revealed. Microsoft says the net impact from the Activision Blizzard acquisition is just over $2 billion in revenue, but the cost of integration, transaction costs, and other costs of revenue all total $930 million. With other operating expenses, $1.59 billion, it works out to an operating loss of $440 million. We'll need more guidance from Microsoft on what the next quarter of Activision Blizzard earnings will look like, particularly as Microsoft continues to integrate the company into the broader Microsoft Gaming division. While Activision Blizzard acquisition is complete, Microsoft laid off 1,900 workers in its gaming division earlier this month, primarily affecting Activision Blizzard employees. Microsoft has also been overhauling its Xbox management in recent months and even named a new Blizzard president earlier this week. Xbox hardware is also up by 3% after the all-important holiday quarter. Microsoft ran a number of Xbox Series X promotions during the holidays in the US, but that doesn't appear to have resulted in a big boost in sales and revenue, although they probably would have looked a lot worse without that. Overall, Microsoft Gaming revenue is up by 49%, mainly boosted by Activision Blizzard revenues. Once again, there is no fresh Xbox Game Pass subscriber numbers. Microsoft Xbox Game Pass had grown to 25 million subscribers in January 2022, and we know it's up to about 40 million now. But we haven't had any update for 2 years now. Nadella did reveal in last quarter's earnings. I mean, we've had the update. They're just not they're refusing to use it. Earnings called that Starfield had contributed to Xbox Game Pass growth. On launch, we set a record for the most Game Pass subscribers added on a single day ever. Interesting. Good Lord, Peckham. I haven't been to Peckham in a while. I used to live, Wait, Leaf, do you live in Peckham? I would just retire and live comfortably and buy a small cottage in the country. I mean, you can buy like a house in Norfolk for like what, 100k, 120k, or in Devon for maybe a little bit more. For those of you that live in Peckham, there's a primary school there called John Donne Primary School. Do you know it? It's it's away from the Peckham bus garage. If you kind of go not towards Camberwell, but if you go, I'd say, I guess, towards New Cross, it's on the right hand side. It's a massive, massive school. I don't know if any of you know it, but it's a primary school called John Donne Primary School. What would the numbers look like without them? Derek, that's an interesting question, and that is something we will not know. We will never know that. But for those of you in Peckham, we probably may have actually interacted at one point if you actually ever went into a games shop over there called Visual Images. The owner used to be a guy called Vince. But yeah, he used to have a game shop down there that I used to go to quite regularly, opposite the Peckham bus garage. Man, that is taking me back donkeys, man. That was a long time ago. We need a great game industry. Man, the numbers that COVID brought was ridiculous. That is helping an exile on Clockwork Revolution.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Okay. Now imagine per se Power World gets taken down. There will be a massive mob for the Pokemon Company. There will be. Hey, Devastator, how's it going? Okay, Selenium ID crashed apparently. That's great. So have you seen this? They are going ham. I mean, I know that IGN got refused, everyone got refused a review copy. But it looks like they're really, really upset about not getting a review copy for Suicide Squad. And they are really going for everyone at this point. You're on your lunch break at work? Nice. Happy to have you here, dude. We would really, really love a new Superman or Batman game, please. Games. How about you kill them instead? Internet. What you doing? Dude, you're so butthurt about this game. There's just no way the story could be getting to you like this. Love you, Destin. You say what's on your mind. We have 3 games about Batman already. It's time to move on. But have you seen this one over here? I'll check out the In Exile one in a second. Saying the game is actually good. Others are saying Borneo, based on what I played during the alpha, or was it the beta, whatever it was, I had a good time. There was some stuff that I didn't like. There was some stuff that I did like. I think the voice acting was pretty good. I think the script is decent. It was fun. Some of the things that they showed during that were good. Some of the gameplay was generic. Kind of horde mode-ish, but it's a live service game. What do you expect? So it was kind of like a mixed bag for me. Some places it excelled at, some places it didn't. Like what it tried to do well, it did really, really well. What it didn't try to do well and kind of tried to rely on tropes, it kind of didn't do very well. Just from Xbox Series stream it and it looked alright. Like I said, I think it's an alright game. I think people are just hating on it because it's a live service game. That's it. No worries, Lord Blue. Thanks for stopping by, my dude. But IGN decided that Gears of War co-creator Cliff Bleszinski insists that Microsoft and the coalition would benefit from asking him to consult on the long-running franchise. Cliff Bleszinski says Microsoft would ask for his help on Gears of War if they were smart. And then you've got Cliff down here. Clickbait, you fuckers. I said if they were smart, it'd be worth it for the PR alone. I mean, IGN is literally getting obliterated right now. I played the alpha. I was in the alpha or beta. Derek, I haven't played the final product. Salty is one thing, but now they're lying. And so Cliff came out and said, clickbait, you fuckers. I said, if they were smart, it'd be worth it for the PR alone. How is that remotely to what IGN have wrote? That's just ridiculous, right? I can't believe that though, dude. Am I getting it day one? Maybe. I'm not sure. It depends if my friends are getting it, honestly, because it's not a game you want to play solo. I haven't looked at IGN in a long time. I mean, I just love Cliff's response. Clickbait, you effers. I said if they were smart, it'd be worth it for the PR alone. My problem right now, Derek, honestly, is that I'm jumping between game to game and my game time is so minimal at the moment because I'm trying to find a place to live. And honestly, if I'm not making videos, doing my 9-to-5 job, streaming, I spend the majority of my time at the moment looking for a place to live. But once this is over, then I'm gonna be in I'll have a decent amount of free time, so my gaming time will go up a lot more. I'm not gonna sit here and say I game 24/7 because I don't. I just don't have the time at the moment. I get a few hours here and there, but nothing that I can dedicate like 10 hours a day. Because at the moment I'm just trying to find a place to put a roof over my head. I know, right? A landlord wants to sell the property, so not much choice. IGN thinks that a high and mighty journalism and they are getting really upset about it. If you saw my other video yesterday where Ryan McCaffrey got really upset at what Paris said, what Paris said was pretty on point. But Visions of Mana, the rumors were that it was coming to Game Pass. It is not. Microsoft spokesman has confirmed, we do not have any plans to bring Visions of Mana to Game Pass at this time. It may come at a later date, but right now it is not going there. End of story. That rumor is 100% quashed. It is not coming to Game Pass. If you want to play this game and if you want to see future Square Enix games on Xbox, I recommend you go check this game out when it launches. These games are pretty much a test bed to see the engagement when it comes to bringing bigger titles. I'm not sure if leases exist in the UK or not. They do. Capcom might be adding more DRM to Dragon's Dogma 2. That would not surprise me. Alpha 1, I suspect it will be at some point, but I don't think it will be day one. Well, they've confirmed it's not going to be day one. So it's not going to be day one. It's not a case of thing. Wholegrain, so the landlord wants to sell and the new owner doesn't want to keep you there. Are you under a lease? My lease expired and they didn't renew it. It's a yearly contract. But then we come to the gas giant. What's not fair anime? I mean, we're also getting Final Fantasy 14, so that's another game that's coming to Xbox. But the gas giant, I mean, the fact that he can actually turn around and twist this, Apple's completely anti-competitive, cock-blocking into console wars. I mean, you have to be impressed with the guy, right? You have to. You have to be impressed with him because, I mean, I don't even know what to say. We believe constructive conversations drive change and progress towards open platforms and greater competition. Apple's new policy is a step in the wrong direction. Does anyone know what the new Apple policy is? Because it's really, really nasty. But, it is the regulators' fault. They left a loophole, and Apple paid their lawyers a lot of money, and they found that loophole, and now they are exploiting it to no end. So, for those of you that don't know, Apple, Google, and all these companies have basically, well, not so much Google, but all these companies like Samsung and whatnot have been vying for, an open platform to allow you to load another storefront onto your Android phone and onto your Apple phone. Now you can do that on like Chromebooks and stuff like that, or like on a Mac, you can do that. But on the devices, you couldn't do it. Now on Android, you can. That rule was passed. That was enabled ages ago, and Android allows you to pretty much install what you want. So if Samsung wants to put a store on there, you can do that. If you want to go crazy and create a porn-based app and want to put it on there via sideloading, you can do that. Google will make it sound horrible by saying, hey, if you allow this app to go through and install, it could completely break your phone and they will try to scare you. But the reality is you can actually put it on there. You can put Samsung's on there. You can put Amazon's on there. You can put any store you want. So people wanted the same for Apple, because Apple is a closed system when it comes to their iPad and thing. So the regulators passed a new regulation through called DMA. And that DMA basically says, Apple, look, you have to allow sideloading. Right? You have to allow sideloading. So Apple said, okay, fine, we will allow sideloading. Now, when you allow an app store to go on there, if I put Amazon store on my mobile phone, for example, on my Android phone, if I buy anything from Amazon store, Google get nothing of that. That money goes to Amazon and Amazon only. You see the thing here? And that's why these companies like Google and Apple were against this. Obviously, Microsoft wants to put their own store on both Android and on Apple. So the brilliant lawyers at Apple went through that document, that regulatory document that had been passed with a fine comb. There was over 1,000 pages, and they went through it and they found a loophole. They found an amazing loophole. And now, if you sideload your app onto their iPhone or their iPad, unlike on Android where they can't charge you anything, every purchase, Apple will take 17% of the revenue. But on top of this, every time you download a software, let's say Spotify get charged 50 pence. If you update Spotify, they get charged 50 pence. If you remove Spotify, they get charged 50 pence. If you reinstall Spotify, they get charged 50 pence. So if Spotify releases 10 updates in the space of 1 day, for example, that's £5. Now imagine that over, 500 million people doing it. Imagine 500 million people doing that update. It's not going to end well for any company on that platform. So instead, what they're going to have to do is say, sorry, we're not going to put our own platform on there. We're going to stick with Apple's 30% and their store and just suck it up. So Apple basically outplayed the regulators, right? It's a really nasty move. But at the end of the day, like I've always said, none of these companies are your friend. They're only here to make money. And they make money by being complete arseholes. That is how they make business. But then you've got King Fresh over here trying to turn that situation into a console war. And you've got now Google, Amazon, Samsung, everyone, Spotify, calling out Apple for their bad practice, for their scummy ways, and, asking them to change their direction because what they're doing is just pure below the earth scumbag moves. But here you have my dude who wants to stick with the scumbags, the below the salt people, and actually cheer them on. Like it takes a special kind of person to be cheering for that sort of, action from one of them, from Apple. But you know what? I still say he's got one more in him to make him look even more stupid. Apple can't get sued because the loophole that they've found within the contract, within the rules and regulations that they set, actually makes what they're doing legal. Like, how can you, like, this is bad for every consumer out there, right? So how can you cheer this on? But he's basically cheering it on because Microsoft can't put if they put their app store onto the Apple store, they'll lose 30% or 17 plus whatever it is over time. That's what he's happy about. What he doesn't realize is that if Sony decide that they're going to release an app and want to put it on PlayStation and want to put their own storefront on PlayStation, they're going to be hit by the same thing. But his tiny little brain doesn't go that far. All he sees is Xbox bad, Kong must live, Xbox bad. Apple does realize that these companies could boycott Apple, essentially causing them to lose money. I was actually thinking about this. No one's going to do that, Devastator. Apple is such a strong brand that right now they could shit on the floor and all these companies would probably go over there and step on it just because Apple told them to. Apple is just too big of a company. They're too strong. In the mobile industry and the tablet industry, they are kings. In the creative world, they are kings. Right? There is no one better. They just have too much of a strong position. And they are going to continue exploiting that until regulators really clamp down on them. But I was just shocked to see anyone trying to defend this because this is awful. Right? This is absolutely awful. But there'll always be someone that's going to try and support it. Evidence? What's brilliant? Would it be 6%? I don't know what it would be, honestly. I mean, the Lightning port one was a stroke of genius. They did the Pro and the Pro Max, but they didn't do the basic version. That one stayed as Lightning only. So they still, I mean, they should have known from that point that Apple was going to look and fine comb everything to think. Now, the question is, will the regulators go back and amend the document through courts to close that loophole? That's an interesting one. Oh, yeah. I mean, all I will say to that evidence is those lawyers, they earned their pay, right? No matter how much I don't like it, the decision that was made, because Apple are just too powerful for their own good. Those lawyers earned their pay, man. They get paid a lot of money and they earned it. They earned it big time. Take it easy, Devastator. Now, this one was actually quite interesting. I'm going to play this because Boom just goes all out. And I think it's a really interesting discussion because as we were, this kind of interjected with the whole thing. So my ordering was a bit messed up there because this was supposed to come alongside this here with the Suicide Squad. But it looks like someone from IGN decided to jump into Boom's channel and decided that they would challenge him, thinking that he would toe the company line. Let's hear what he had to say.
On those lines, so
I think so, yeah.
on those lines, so I think this is a good move on WB's part, but we'll see. Sure enough, soon. So.
No, I mean, listen, here's the thing. First of all, before we bring Gamsley in, and I'm very interested in his opinion, I want to welcome in Mark Medina. He works at IGN. He's in the chat right now. Mark, first of all, chat, please be gentlemen-like as we are. He didn't have to put his name out there. He's here. He said something originally that I'm trying to find. He says, Double Barrel Gaming, I disagree. I've been with the company for almost 10 years. Never have we made a review specifically to farm clicks. That is a silly assumption. brother, listen, we don't have to agree on that. I understand how the business works. I'm not a journalist. No, I'm a retired New York City police officer. So I got into the game super late. Well, I've been doing YouTube for 6 years. I did another career for 20 plus years. So here I am, making my way. I don't use clickbait here. I don't use egregious titles to get you in. We don't use hate mongering. Now, you might be a fine journalist because I've never heard of you, and that doesn't mean that you don't exist. You've been with the company for 10 years, and I'm sure you've made an impact on your readers, and that's awesome. But I am not going to sit here and take and honestly believe what you have to say if you're telling me that you've been there for a decade and that the site itself does not use hate mongering or very specifically written titles to rage a community to click on their stuff. That happens all the time. And it's not just IGN. Let's understand this. This isn't a witch hunt for you guys. We're talking about the gaming media being put in their place, as you should. You are not owed anything. I have offers for codes all the time. And you know what I do? I turn them down. And the stuff I buy myself because I love the way ACG does it. That dude has 1 million subs and everybody wants to give them the shirt off their back. And he doesn't take it. He buys his games. Now I'm a retired dude. I'm not rich, but I have spendable income and I buy my games. I buy them on PlayStation. I buy them on Switch, and there's a lot of the Xbox stuff, even though it drops in the Game Pass, I buy. But we don't have to agree, Mark. That's perfectly fine. I appreciate you stopping by. Please, by all means, hang out, listen to what we have to say. It's fine, but you're not going to get me to agree with you. That's not going to happen. Sorry.
What do you think? What do you think? What's your views on that? I mean, we all know that IGN journalist is lying. I mean, there's no denying that one, right? I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with Boom on this one. He is 100% right, personally. I I agree with it. The reality is we've seen it time and time again where it comes to Xbox titles, everything is aggressive, violent, inciting rage. Whereas if you look over at anything else, it's nowhere near the case, right? We've seen this multiple times. We've seen this, it's not a secret. Every other day there's something, at least towards the end of last year. I mean, just look at their Starfield titles. Look at the Elder Scrolls. Just to confirm, for the 35th time, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be an exclusive to Xbox and will not be on PlayStation 5. Or how to unsubscribe from Game Pass. Like, really? Apple too powerful? What if the EU banned Apple to Europe? See, Force, that would be a Giga Chad move. They actually did that recently with the Apple Watches, I think, in certain countries, and Apple lost their shit. They fixed that shit real quick. They could do that. They could absolutely do that, and that would change Apple's direction real quick. That would change Apple's operatus mundi very, very, very quick. So if they did that, that would be like a proper Giga Chad, big dick move right there. And yes, that would work. That would 100% work, because that would basically turn around and bitch slap Apple and tell them, hey, you may think you're the big dog here, but you're not bigger than us. You're not bigger than the country. And if we want to outlaw your product, we will outlaw your product. Yeah, exactly, whole grain. That would be a bad move on the EU, but the watch situation was a patent for a scanner, right? Yeah, it was. But Apple fixed that real quick the moment they took it off, right? Apple was scrambling to keep it on sale, and they took it off real. They fixed that shit real quick. They write how to unsub from PlayStation Premium and whatnot after that. So what they did with how to unsub from PlayStation Premium was that they had another article, and they put it as a footnote inside that article on how to unsub from PlayStation. They didn't write a whole article dedicated to PlayStation. It was a footnote that you probably wouldn't see. And then they started posting, hey, look, we've got it in this article that no one will ever see because the main headline doesn't talk about PlayStation at all. You'd be surprised, Chris. I've seen I've seen the UK do dumb shit all the time. I don't know about EU, but the UK has done some stupid things over the years. Don't really pay attention to them because they're a media company, not a legit gaming review company, pretty much. There's court cases with them in my mind, but that's a no-go for the chat due to the terminology. Hey, I studied law in university. I'm pretty good with that shit. Although I did specialize in company and contract law, which should, factor very well for this. So here's the new face of Activision, or Activision Blizzard. Well, Blizzard's president. Mike Ybarra's replacement. What do you think? Mike Ybarra's replacement is Johanna. Is it Johanna or Johanna? Probably Johanna. Berries. And she's very excited to be here. And she likes to play WoW. Or was it Diablo? Probably Diablo. Because no one likes to play WoW. Diablo. If she can fix Blizzard, I'm all for it. 2016, Jesus. No, that's old evidence. We're talking 2023. Mate, it's Sarah from the CMA. She's the UK version of Khan from the US. I mean, look, all I'm going to say is Microsoft has a type. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying this in a bad way, but Microsoft clearly has a type. Right? Because I'm not even saying that in a bad way, but if Phil Spencer walked in with both of these two women, you'd be like, damn, man, dude has a type. And there is no way to actually disguise that either, because they look so similar. I'd actually think they're sisters, honestly. She's a former Call of Duty and NFL executive. Yeah, she is. Hey, I'm not saying they're not pretty. I'm just saying that Microsoft has a type. That's all I'm saying. I wouldn't say that. As long as they're good at what they do, I don't care what color they are. It wasn't here. Maybe it was here. No. There was a statement she left. Here we go. Hi all. Today I sent the below note to Blizzard Entertainment. As for X, I plan to stay in listen mode, so she's not going to be interacting with anyone. but trust I'm tuned in. She probably won't be tuned in. As for me, a typical day work equals work life and yogi life and games life. Currently on heavy rotation, Diablo 4, COD, Baldur's Gate 3, feeling blessed and grateful. Then my official first day with you all is February the 5th. I want to let you know immediately that it is an honor to join you next week in this new capacity. I do so humbly and in awe of all that Blizzard has stood for and delivered to the world for over 30 years. Today is also bringing some mixed emotions. The loss of talented teammates in recent days is hard to hold side by side with the immense excitement I feel about joining Blizzard and building on the momentum you've created for Blizzard's next chapter. I want to thank Matt for the introduction, bring some further clarity to today's announcement, and share more about how I see our future together at Blizzard. I understand this is a lot to take in. The news of my appointment may no doubt bring up a range of reactions, questions, and even concerns. I mean, you replaced Mike Ybarra after all. Let's face it, he has a reputation, but considering he was in charge of Overwatch, Diablo, and WoW, they didn't exactly have the best of times, did they? Activision Blizzard and King are decidedly different companies with distinct games, cultures, and communities. It is important to note that Call of Duty's way of waking up in the morning to deliver for players can often differ from the stunning games in Blizzard's realm, each with different gameplay experiences, communities that surround them, and requisite models of success. I've discussed this with the Blizzard leadership team. What? There's a leadership team still there? That's news to me. Maybe it's the Microsoft leadership team. And I'm walking into this role with sensitivity to those dynamics. The deep respect for Blizzard as we begin to explore taking our universes to even higher heights. I am committed to doing everything I can to help Blizzard thrive with care and consideration for you. I mean, this is all just PR fluff, right? I'm optimistic about our ability to serve our current and future player communities and to further amplify the shared passion for greatness, polish, and creative mastery that is hallmark of it's all fluff. Next week I'll be in Irvine, where I am eager to connect with as many of you as possible for a greet and meet. Those of you who cannot make it, send me an email. A few personal facts about me. Number one, job in life is raising your kids. In addition, parenthood. A typical week for me includes finding time for daily yoga and prayer, and of course, playing video games. Big Diablo 4 fan over here. Throughout the joy I find in games and working with those who make them only deepens. I remain inspired by Blizzard's iconic legacy and my paycheck and the transformative role gaming has played in my life and in the lives of others. I cannot wait to get going, to listen, to learn, to empower, and to collaborate with all of you on our bold and bright future together. Together, we may forge many legendary days ahead. There was too much fluff there, in my opinion. Way too much fluff. Yeah, I agree. Sappho, I'm not writing her off. I'm just saying there's just way too much PR there. JTech will be all over the place. I thought she was a general manager and now took a huge bump to president. Yep. Have run into M executives in ROK, South Korea, music related. Oh, have you? X-Coin, what the fuck? Come on, man. For me, I am skipping on getting enshrouded only because I think there will be more games coming in the current year. Yeah, that makes sense. Welcome back, Lord Blue. Hope she can deliver, but this looks more of an optics move on Microsoft from and his allegations to is a complete 180. Hope she does great things. I mean, I hope she's successful. I hope she turns Blizzard around. I hope she does what she needs to do and, brings great games for everyone. At the end of the day, that's what she's here for. That's what she's here to deliver. And hopefully she can actually do that, right? The best of luck to her. Toys for Bob has put me in a downer. I'm still hoping Spyro 4 and a Banjo game. Yeah, I mean, they're still going to come. They're still going to arrive. Make no mistake, those games will still come. Especially the Banjo one. That's already in development, so that's still going to come. Nah. What's Toys for Bob and Sledgehammer? No way. Not in a million years. Plugged enough to do some yard work, but now I'm just going to snack on some Pringles and soda. Nice. But no, the job losses at Toys for Bob and Sledgehammer are not nice. I know some of them are instigated by people refusing to return to the office. That was already stated on a Twitter thread somewhere. I don't know if it was official communications or not, but the request for them to go back to the office was made, and they said that they would not be doing it, and they said you have to do it. It's a company mandate, and then they said, well, we're going to leave. And so those that didn't want to come back to the office were told to leave. I think something is wrong with me because I'm actually taking the idea of making mods for Palworld seriously. I mean, if you do, and it's Pokemon related, don't make it public, don't release a video, just release it to the world. Judgment was highly underrated. I mean, yeah, I agree, Sonny. But I still think those games will come. I mean, like, my workplace right now, where I work, we, before Christmas, we had a 2-day a week mandatory office engagement where we had to go in. This year in January, they've increased it to 3 days. And we've already been told that if you do not come to the office for 3 days per week, you'll be looking for a new job. It's that simple. Not the best thing you want to listen to, especially when you go to the office and half the people there sit down twiddling their thumbs because there's no work, but it is what it is. If you don't want to go to the office and you don't have a good enough reason to go to the office, not to go to the office, you're going against the request of your CEO. They have a very basic system I know I can improve upon a ton. Plus, I'm learning the engine anyway. Did you guys see this? I thought this was quite funny. I'm not sure if you can actually see it. Let me... So after the Indiana Jones presentation, from Embracer Group or from somewhere else evidence, the game is not going to be released on the PS4 or PS5 game consoles, not for PlayStation. Why Xbox only? So no PS5. How come it's not coming out on PS5? Bethesda, put Indiana Jones for PlayStation console. Machine Games and LucasArts. Sheesh, this game is probably going to be awesome. I hope it comes to PlayStation someday. Looks awesome. I hope it gets ported to PlayStation. Just tell me this is going to be on PlayStation 5. Are you kidding me? I thought we would be over the whole exclusivity with games, except for when it, PlayStation's doing it, then you're totally okay with it. This is just not okay. And Bethesda really dropped the ball, but it's okay when PlayStation do it and you're not out here screaming about it, right? They're going to start losing a lot of guns if this is how their games are going to become. Actually, they probably won't. Will this ever be coming out on the PS5? Now I'm pissed. Why not on PS4 and PS5 too? Might have to get an Xbox now. God damn it. Please make it for PS5. Please. 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 I played through the Gears games on hardcore, and this was the one I played the least. But I thought this was funny, because that's some next level begging. Esport division? Wasn't there something going on with esports? Though, like teams were pulled out of the esports thing and they had to cancel the last one. Like multiple teams pulled out of it. I remember there was a massive issue with the Overwatch esports thing, and they had to pretty much almost cancel the show. I don't know, I could remember wrong, but I do remember that. There was like loads of teams were pulling out. I can't remember why though. You're going to make a Power Wars series with hard difficulty? I mean, my kids are going to make me some Power Wars videos. YouTube and Rumble? How is Rumble these days? Is it good? Bad? Has it evolved? Again, though, this is the Embracer situation. It is really sad to see Embracer still just murdering this, all their studios. It's really, really sad to see it. A Deus Ex game getting cancelled as well. I'm sure a lot of people were looking forward to that. But yeah, this is just sad. What Embracer is doing here is awful. But I haven't seen any media outlets reporting on this. It could just be me not seeing it. But I've not seen any. I've not seen any studios report on this. I've seen a few Twitter posts, and that's it, of this news. It was really few and far between. But I think like 100 people got laid off. But I guess if Microsoft laid off 100 people, you'd have aliens coming down reporting on it. I get that, Lord Blue. I get that. And Alexander, I know. This is their statement. Trash, so why are they talking about Xbox exclusives? Because Xbox games are not trashed, and they kind of want Xbox games because they have nothing for themselves. Again, there's a lot of fluff PR here, but the parts that you want to that are important is the global economic context, the challenges of our industry, and comprehensive restructuring announced by Embracer have finally impacted our studio. The difficult decision has been made to let go 97 people from the development team's administration and support services. So again, I guess the support services being offshored to a cheaper place. We are working to support all impacted personnel through this transition. These very talented, highly experienced people are entering the employment market, and we want them to find their next projects and are helping to do so. So yeah, it sucks. Gaming is now Microsoft's third largest business, bigger than Windows. Is it? That's interesting. Has anyone heard of Shapeshifter Games? Apparently, oh, this is the one that you know we're talking about. A brand new studio called Shapeshifter Games, formed by former Volition Games, is partnering with an Xbox studio to develop a AAA game. According to them, their aim is to partner with the world-class developers and publishers on the creation of AAA games. So, good luck to them. I hope it works out. I hope they find a new footing, and whatever they work on will bring them much success. But that's with Activision Blizzard, right? Evidence? I know the rumor says it's Crackdown 4. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, will it have Terry Crews in there? It kind of needs a bit of Terry Crews, you know what I mean? But hey, I mean, maybe Drogdor. But hey, on a bright note, at least Destiny is coming back in style. You've got the N7 armor sets, including Garrus and Liara. Now, these are going to be $20 each for those of you that want them. But apparently the Ghost and the ship are going to, and the Sparrow might be free. I don't know how true that is. You need to log into the game to claim them, apparently. So there's going to be a bunch of, at least a couple things for free. But the armor sets themselves will be paid for at $20 each. For those of you that are interested in this sort of thing. But did you know about Bungie? They let go of 8% of their workforce. They let go of 8% of their workforce, and then followed that up by rehiring more than 8% of the workforce to work on games. Did you know about that? They went from 1,100 to 1,400 members of staff. So they let go of all those people, and then they rehired a whole bunch. Again, not a single dicky bird of information out there for it. Some were Sony, some were contractors. There's a bunch of contractors in there as well. It's I think I did a react video to it, to Aztecross's video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. My Discord, isn't it in the description below? If it isn't, Taz, could you post it? The hell is that? But yeah, it's again, not a single dicky bird. Also, if you look at it, Christopher Barrett said that they had over half their staff was working on Marathon at 1.5k. And then someone else at Bungie announced that their total members of staff is 1.5k. I don't even think they know what's going on in their studios. But hey, it's Sony, so it's going to get shoved under the table, right? It is going to get shoved under the table. All right, what's going on here? If they don't take that Game Pass money, this game is dead on arrival. See, I think that's the wrong attitude for this. At the end of the day, you know, games need to sell on their own accord. Visions of Mana is not a bad game. It'll be interesting to see how long it will, you know, how it will actually do sales wise. I really hope it sells well on Xbox. Like I said, it's going to be a very big telltale sign. What's this? Remember when Bethesda stopped providing early review copies, with Doom 2016 being the first? All the outlets cried foul, but Doom was amazing, followed up by Dishonored 2 and Skyrim Special Edition after. So Bethesda did this quite a while ago. That's interesting. Gaming is now Microsoft's third largest business. JW is now regretting 2027 tweets. But hey, they've got this to live on to, right? Droid at it again. Good old Droid. Definitely prefer to see hype around the game rather than negativity when possible. Oh, damn. Xbox doing better than ever before. Fucking hell, guys. Well, chat, was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about? I've got a couple of videos that we could potentially react to that was sent to me privately and also through the React channel that we have in the Discord. So I've got a separate section where people can post stuff. There's one called the Pal World is a terrible game for terrible people. Should we react to that one? It was sent by Webs. Tales of Arise is a good game.
Pal World is one of the worst.
All right. You know what? Let's see how this actually works with me recording it for the first time. And then I'll upload this separately. All right, folks. So Pal World is a terrible game for terrible people. Apparently there's a lot of terrible people out there, folks. Apparently there's a lot of terrible people. And, you know, let's see what this guy actually has to say. Cool, I'll install it, thanks. I mean, I captured a merchant in here. Does that make me a bad person? He's been tucked away in my little Pokeball for the longest time. I actually forgot he was there until my kid reminded me today when he jumped on my account. All right, here we go.
Pal World is one of the worst games that I've ever played in recent memory. Considering how positive the reviews are right now, you may think I'm being a contrarian, but remember, I was ahead of the curve on Starfield and I was ahead of the curve on Spider-Man 2.
And you're pretty much wrong on Starfield, and I guess you know, I don't think Spider-Man 2 was a bad game. I just don't think it was a great game. I think it was a good game, but you know, so I guess you was pretty wrong on both of those accounts. So let's see if you can go 3 out of 3, buddy. You're 17 seconds in, and I'm already questioning your judgment.
Was one of the very few people vocally criticizing both games. I got very ferociously attacked for my opinions on both Starfield and especially Spider-Man 2. But give it a few more months and they fell off and everybody saw right through it.
I mean, you're going to use review bombing as a way to do a gotcha moment? What type of an idiot is this?
Obviously, this is an early access title, which I assure you it's not going to leave early access anytime soon. But obviously, I have to review the game as it is right now as I played it. I just can't review a game based on how I perceive the game will be in the future. There is definitely a chance for this game to be good, but as it is right now, it is currently very, very bad. And just to address the elephant in the room, no, this is not some politically motivated thing against AI or some plagiarism practices that may or may not have occurred, because assuming that Pal World did straight up rip off assets from Pokemon games,
which there is no proof of,
that really doesn't change my opinion all that much, because there are a lot more issues than just that. Pal World being very derivative of Pokemon has been known since it's been announced years ago, and I actually looked forward to it all that much because I actually fell out of Pokemon in the Switch generation. My discontent for Pokemon even got me attracted to RPGs such as Octopath Traveler and Shimigami Tensei 5.
Those are good games, by the way, so it's not like the guy has bad taste.
Which, going back to my previous point, remember, I was very quick to criticize Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Me pushing back against Scarlet and Violet at the time was very controversial. But
have you noticed anything here so far, chat? Anything that's successful, he is pushing back against, criticizing. Is this engagement farming, or is it just me? Hey, there's a really popular game over there. I'm going to go and say it's really rubbish so I can get 1 million views.
hey, at least I'm consistent in calling out bad games, unlike Pal World fans, who will talk out of both sides of their mouths saying how bad Pokemon is, while refusing to show any Pal World gameplay because they secretly know it's bad, they just want to own the tendies. My track record on all of this has been very public, so please know that I just think Pal World is garbage, and if you think that Pokemon, Starfield, or Spider-Man are also garbage, you better keep that same energy towards this game, because the only reason that you do not think that this game is garbage is because these VTubers that got sponsored by the game probably told you that it's great. They got a free copy with early access, and it's no doubt that that's the reason that they're defending this game so hard. So let's address.
I'm not sure how much stupidity this guy can have under one roof. I mean, it's a fun game. My kids can't stop playing it. It's a good game. I mean, it's not perfect. There are bugs. And do you know what my kids turned around and said when they saw bugs? They said, there's bugs, but, you know, it's early access, so it's kind of to be expected. So, you know, when the game finally gets to full release, if there's still bugs in that manner, then yeah, well, then I'll say that it's doing something wrong. But right now it's early access, and, you know, he's 16. He's not a grown man like this guy.
The actual gameplay, because that's just about all we have here. You can craft.
That's another point. It's on Game Pass, Edward. Like you said, it's free to everyone.
And it takes forever. Yes, there is a crafting system, and they somehow made it even worse than they do normally in these types of survival games.
I disagree. Like, my son has played Ark Evolved, and he actually said that the crafting system here he prefers. Again, that's my son though, so one person isn't the unanimous, but I guess everyone loving this game can't be bad.
Once you select the item to craft, you have to just hold the X button down for multiple seconds, depending on the item that you're crafting.
Okay, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. You should not need to hold the button down. I totally agree with this one. This one I will give him because this one absolutely sucks. It should just require you to press the button once and it should just work on it while it's doing it. The fact that it requires you to just hold the button down is very annoying.
All this does is needlessly waste your time. This will be an ongoing trend when it comes to this game. Also, good luck holding onto enough items to actually craft anything worthwhile because you have a weight limit. And one of the heaviest things that I've encountered is stone, which is plentiful and also just about in every single crafting recipe. If you don't see why this is not a problem, then there is genuinely something wrong with you.
I mean, you've literally got crates that you can build to put stuff in. Literally create a box just for your stones. There's like 7 slots in it. And then you can make bigger boxes to make even bigger slots. Like, huh? Increase your level, your encumbrance level.
When you first spawn in, what you're able to do is incredibly limited. So you're going to have to level up first to access technology with your technology points. Also, when you level up, you get skill points, which you can put into different stats. For the beginning of the game, you're gonna want to put it into weight if you want to actually carry anything. The weight limit is almost as constricting as Starfield. At least in Starfield, you had a little robot guy that'd follow you around. I hate just about everything in Starfield, but that guy, he's cool. He's the GOAT of Starfield. He's the gold nugget in the wasteland that is the dumpster. Now that we brought up the Starfield comparison,
something tells me he doesn't like Starfield. What do you think, chat? I mean, I'm starting to think he doesn't like Starfield.
let's run into the open world, because the open world is also very generic and bland, and it starts off very linear. The cherry on top is that the human AI that you'll frequently encounter raiding your base is even worse than the human AI in Starfield. I cannot believe I am actually somewhat praising Starfield. This is how bad this game is. I will say in all disclosure that this game probably is better than Starfield. It does help that it is 40.
Oh man, this guy is reaching. This guy is reaching.
$3 cheaper. There is just that sense of discovery that I don't seem to have with Starfield, because I get to actually see some cool monsters that they kind of look lame, but you know what? It's a Pokemon knockoff. I want to collect them all. So after you explore for just about 15 seconds before your weight limit has been reached, you need to go back to your base. If you want to build up your base, well, good luck, because the building controls are absolutely horrible. The only survival game I would say has worse building is Lego Fortnite, which is not a high bar at all. The building in this game is absolutely atrocious. There are just way too many restrictions. You can't build into the ground. Any and all building can't collide with any other building. This is especially torture if you want to build stairs. Not to mention, you're not allowed to build anywhere near your PAL box. These caves are some of the worst designed dungeons I've ever encountered in video games. All it is hallways and then an open room with some enemies and some pals. The enemies, as I said before, the AI is not all too bright. Keep walking down the copious amounts of hallways and then you get to the boss fight. In the footage here, the pal actually got stuck into a river. I decided to exploit that. Then my stone spear actually got damaged and decided to do like 3 damage per hit. And I was not going to sit there doing all that ship damage to a boss. I was going to place a repair bench, but I'm not allowed to build in dungeons. Just another restriction of building.
I mean, I don't see the problem with not being able to build in dungeons. That's why you kind of carry more than one weapon. But he could have just picked up his pal, right? And then just started attacking with the pal. Doesn't that pal act as a flamethrower? I mean, everything he's saying just sounds so stupid. And Susano, yeah, I can't see Nintendo having any legal thing over this game. I just literally see nothing. Exactly, Ventura. Like, you come prepared. I've got like 3-4 weapons in my backpack. Always. I've got a crossbow, I've got the spear, I've got the baseball bat. You know, don't judge me. But, I always carry like 3 weapons and make sure that wherever I go, I've got something, because weapons get damaged and weapons break. I mean, your stupidity is your problem, buddy.
All of the mechanics in this game do not gel together at all. For as much as this game is trying to ape Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it really doesn't understand what makes those games tick. For as little enemies as there are in Breath of the Wild, they are incredibly dynamic. Not to mention, you can go about fighting them in plenty of ways. It almost makes every fight a puzzle in itself. The climbing gives you some risk and reward. If you choose to up your stamina early on, you'll be able to climb to newer and higher places. If you want to be risky, you get to hit the X button and then you can jump at the cost of more stamina. These fluid controls do not copy over to Power World at all. Even the gliding in Power World just feels so sloppy. In Tears of the Kingdom, once you press the X button in midair, your glider's out. You press it again, it's out. There is incredibly little lag to the glider in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. The same cannot be said in Power World. It feels incredibly sluggish. And
is he seriously trying to compare a, in-house Nintendo studio with an indie studio? I mean, is he trying to actually compare the studio that's behind Zelda, who have built countless games, as a finished product, to an early access game? Like, my dude is on some, whatever he's on, he needs to give me some, because he's not making any sense whatsoever. I mean, it's in early access. It's allowed to have some defects. That's the whole point of being early access. Now, if Power World came out as a finished product, it probably would have got hit a lot harder, right? People would have had a lot more complaints. But the fact that it's early access and they're still improving upon it, developing and, making things better, adding quality of life stuff, that's what early access is for.
and takes up just about 3 times the much stamina as it does in Tears of the Kingdom, this game would just be so much better if you just got rid of most of the restrictions and actually gave the player freedom. But instead, just about every single aspect of this game is level gated. If you want to craft a specific thing, you're going to need to level up to a specific point and spend your technology points. If you actually want to explore for a significant amount of time, then you're going to have to up your weight. What does that require? Leveling up. So you're in this very vicious cycle of having to go back to base just so you can store your items, just so you can go back out, just to level up. I am consistently cut off from actually engaging in the world and the game.
Well, here's a big, a big brain move, right? Chat, here's a big brain move, right? Hear me out here, right? Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Here's a big brain move, right? What if, right? What if, when he's in the open world, and just hear me out here, he creates a crate, a box, and puts his stuff in there, makes a note of it where it is on the world map, and then continues doing what he's doing with an empty inventory. What if he did that? Would that get around his problem? Would that solve his problem? Because I think it would solve his problem. And, creating those boxes is very, very cheap. Very, very low resource. I create them next to my ore mining. I create it next to other places. Or if I just need to, if I've collected too many stuff, I just make a box around me, put the stuff in there, and I go and do what I need to do. I mean, the reality is, it is a game that borrows from multiple different genres, like Ark, like Rust. I mean, it's going to have PvP at some point. And it combines the element that people wanted in capturing, you know, Pokemon type creatures. That blend works really well and it hits a niche that people haven't had. Therefore, it's doing something that just isn't available right now. And now when I asked a couple of people, well, why don't you like Ark Evolved? They said, well, I don't like hunting dinosaurs. I prefer this because the creatures look better. Simple as.
So I can store my stuff back at the base. I am actively being prevented from exploring the world. It feels like a tether to my base that I set up previously, just so I can store all of my belongings. The more that I actually play this game, the more I'm convinced that there's no actual redeeming qualities of this game at all. The only people that think this game is good is just VTuber fans and people that want to dunk on tendies, because I genuinely do not understand at all what the appeal is of these games.
Survival, open world, and being able to collect creatures. Something that hasn't been done before. So, you know, something that hasn't combined all three of those together, that's what's making it. That is why people like it. The fact that you can't see this is a little disturbing.
Just play Valheim. Thank you to all those who are watching, because I just have a feeling before this is getting posted that a large percentage of people who see this are just going to be a bunch of Power World dick writers who are going to call me a tendy in the comment section down below. Even though if you've looked at my history at all when it comes to criticizing video games, you would know that is not the case.
I mean, you've already made it clear that the only thing you like to do is criticize games to get clicks. It's got nothing to do with you being a Nintendo. The reality is you're doing it just for clicks.
Made it this far, comment in the comments.
All right, that's the end of his video. He's just going to talk about plugging his channel. But, you know, I'll leave a link in the description below. And so for those of you that want to go check it out, do feel like going over there. But that's a wrap for this React video. See you next time. Remain legend. All right, so that's finished recording. Yeah, I don't get what he's talking about. I think it's I think he's reaching really hard on this, and he's just doing it for the sake of it. A lot of what he complained about can be circumvented quite easily. Exactly, Blue. There's so much you can do to circumvent it. Now, don't get me wrong, chat. I'm not going to sit here and say that I love this game, because I don't mind playing it, but my kids absolutely play this 24/7 right now. Me, on the other hand, I'm like on and off. I don't like the whole survival aspect of games, the whole camp building, which is why I've never been into games like Ark Survival, Valheim, Rust, and this is going to be no different. So my position and my stance is going to stay. I'm giving this more of a go. That is true. Most likely because it's on Game Pass and I'm not paying for it. And, you know, a lot of my friends want to play it and they've created characters on my server. So there's that as well. So we kind of just like mess about and have a bit of fun and, you know, hang out. But I've never been too hot on those games. So I'm not going to sit here and, you know, fake celebrate, you know, and whatnot. But the game is doing phenomenally well. 8 million people enjoying the game. At least that's what it was last time we saw. That speaks for itself, right? That speaks for itself. Hey, CS6, Dark Fox, welcome to the stream. Not necessarily Borneo. My kids have played multiple survival games, and this is one of their favorite. Of course, Ventura. I'm on Game Pass, though. So do keep that in mind. I'm not playing it on Steam. But even if you are playing it on Steam, they are going to add crossplay, so that should fix that problem soon. But yeah, I think it's I mean, you can just see everything about his videos. It's all built on negativity. It's all built on negativity. There was another video that someone sent me. Have you guys heard of Harmon Smith? Have you? All right, let's do this one as well. Why not? This guy is, I think he's literally the biggest Nintendo fanboy I've ever seen in my life. I actually think he's the biggest Nintendo fanboy and the most delusional Nintendite, whatever you want to call him, because this guy is truly delusional. This guy is very special. He is way up Nintendo's ass. Let me record this as well. At least it will give me a couple of videos to post online. All right, so we're looking at Harmon Smith because his takes on Power World have been actually really, really interesting. Very special. Very, well, let's just say he does like to ride that Nintendo train a little too hard. But the video here is called Pal World is Falling Off Already, despite the fact that it, oh wow, 480p. That's some impressive quality. But you know what? Before we actually look at that, what I want to do is look at Steam DB charts. 700k right now, and it peaked at 2,100,000. I'm guessing concurrent, that was on the weekend. But you know, 700k right now on a, that's not bad, right? That is not bad. So I mean, it's not the 800-900 that it was last week, but 700k is still good, right? If you're looking at games down here, Baldur's Gate has dropped down. I mean, I'm guessing this is just a bad time right now for gaming, because Baldur's Gate is usually up there with like 800-900k, but maybe that's gone as well. But 125k, I mean, it's still doing more than Counter-Strike, so it can't have fallen off that much, right? It can't have fallen off that much. So let's see. Let's see what he has to say.
Not once over the past week have I heard anyone discuss the gameplay or what Power World actually is as a game. All I've seen is people try to gaslight you into thinking the game is completely original and not an infringement on Pokemon's copyright.
I mean, this game is 100% original, right? Every single idea that came to this game that it has derived from Pal World is original. It has not copied a single idea from any game whatsoever, because every single game that has ever been made is original.
They've been bending over backwards trying to say it's better than Pokemon, it does more things than Pokemon does, and it couldn't be more obvious that the people saying this are not Pokemon fans. I've been saying this since it started, but I do think it's time, now that it's been a week, to kind of address the elephant in the room, and that is the fact that the gameplay itself is wholly unoriginal, right? The gameplay is not fun. The game is unfinished. It's glitchy. It's buggy. It is objectively not a good video game.
I mean, it's early access. The former points you made are to be expected, but the latter point, not fun. I beg to disagree. 8 million people didn't think to seem to agree with you, and that's just on Steam. We're not even talking about the Game Pass PC, Xbox Game Pass players, and those that actually bought it on Xbox.
I just saw from one of my major detractors, the guy who tags me every day, Justin Diems. I just saw that he admitted he had to drop the game because it was crashing on him near constantly. And I've seen a bunch of people like come out and say, "Oh, that's not happening, and it's rig or whatever." Well, first of all, that's proof that PC gaming is fundamentally flawed if like simply having a different.
Oh, he just attacked the PC Master Race. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Did he just complain that an early access game is unfinished? Yes, he did. But he just attacked the PC Master Race. I mean, it's not that buggy, Borneo. I've only experienced one bug in the game so far.
Build can result in an entire game crashing on you to the point where it becomes unplayable. But like, second of all, right, like the issue is clear, right? Pal World has a lot of technical problems that people are not acknowledging because they want to focus on like how it's allegedly superior to Pokemon. You know, never mind that they're completely different genres, and in the genre that Pal World is in, there are several better alternatives. Right, like I do think that's the core issue when thinking about Pal World discourse is that like, oh, this is what Pokemon should be. Well, okay, but this isn't what Pokemon is. And second of all, like there are alternatives to Pal World, right? There are games that do what Pal World does, but better. But again, like that's not why the game blew up the way it did. It's not why YouTubers religiously defended it. It's not why people were talking about it so much. No, the reason people thought they could use this game was that they thought it would be a massive L for the Pokemon Company. They thought they could turn it into a PR disaster. And I'm very curious if they're going to try to maintain this momentum up until Pokemon Day next month. I find the timing of Power World's release very interesting because, you know, it blew up. People like wouldn't shut up about it for like a day, and now it's kind of faded away. And now it's like
How is it faded away? Guys living in some kind of cuckoo land. Like, what? Why can't he understand that what Powell does really good that people like is the fact that it's merging multiple genres together into a game that people want to experience? I mean, Arceus, you know, kind of pushed Pokemon a little outside of its comfort zone, but it didn't go far enough. It did not go far enough. And Pokemon needs more innovation and just evolution at this point. I mean, the Pokemons are all about evolving and becoming better, but why is the franchise itself so stale? It needs to evolve. It needs to just move on from its kind of way it is. Try experimenting once in a while.
it's becoming more and more obvious that the game just doesn't really have any longevity to it at all. Like it was heavily astroturf. People downplayed the problems. Uh, like the game wasn't good to begin with, right? But you didn't see people admit it. Like all anybody could talk about was like, oh, it sold 8 million copies. Yeah, it became a meme. You might as well say that like, oh, FNAF is on Five Nights at Freddy's is on par with the Super Mario Bros. Movie because you know those games get pumped out all the time, and you know the movie was successful. No, like the difference in quality between FNAF and Mario is very very clear and very distinct. Like you would be an idiot if you actually made that argument.
I really want to know what he's on. I mean, Nintendo must be paying him, right? For him to be like this much of a diehard Nintendo fan. He has to be getting something from Nintendo. Who has an argument over Pokemon? How old is this guy? He looks like he's just got roughed up before the video. It's like, this is his normal look. And Bonaya, you're right. You know, Pokemon was a mess when it launched.
But like, yeah, it's the same thing with Power World, right? Like, a plagiarized product is never ever going to surpass the original because the original is always going to innovate and always evolve and always do new things with it. I know the big meme right now among the community is that Pokemon does not evolve, but that is 100% not true. Pokemon evolves and innovates more than most major franchises.
Okay, I want him to, because I haven't seen this video. So I really want him to cook on this and evolve on what he's saying. And I am finding the fact that he continuously sniffs his fingers and it goes off screen a little disturbing. Like, I don't know where his hands are going. I don't want to have that mental image anymore. But if I'm going to have that mental image, everyone in chat is going to have that mental image. But I really want to see where he's going with this.
Right? Just look at how Pokemon manages to evolve compared to Call of Duty, right? You have a clearly defined expectation as to what you're going to get with each new generation. A whole new cast of Pokemon, a whole new region to explore, like, balance changes, more things to do, new features. Like, there are reasons to play every new Pokemon game. It's not like we're sitting here playing the same games we're playing for the 90s near constantly, right? Pokemon has remained very, very relevant for almost 30 years for this exact reason, is that it does innovate. It does bring in new fans constantly. It does do a lot to keep a lot of old.
What has Pokemon innovated on? Seriously. I mean, I'm not a Pokemon player, right? My kids are, but I don't really enjoy those sorts of games. Never have, never will. But what does it actually innovate on? Thanks for making me think he's sniffing his balls sweat. He contradicts himself. He said Power World is a ripoff and says it's a different genre. Infurious? I know. The fact that you have a good PC does not mean you have a good FPS. The problem is that you need software to run the latest graphics card. That fact is that what will the PC... Yeah. Pokemon has evolved. It switched to color and gained 3D. Okay, Edward, stop trolling.
Older fans happy. And like, I am very, very tired of this mindset among shills, right? Among like the YouTube community that they don't, right? It's so obviously fake to me that the people who criticize Pokemon don't know the first thing about it, that it's honestly kind of laughable. And the way they'll try to always the trick they'll always pull is that they'll try to tell you that, like, oh, I was a huge Pokemon fan back in the Game Boy days, but I lost interest because the games didn't change. They didn't become action based. They didn't grow up with me. Like, it's a trick, right? This is what I mean when I call people pretendos, right? Because if you say you just don't like Pokemon and that you never will, and that like there's nothing that anyone could possibly do to get you to play the games, like nobody would pay attention to you, right? All anybody would do would just be like, yeah, whatever, you're not a fan, whatever. But by pretending to be a hardcore fan, by doing this thing where you act as if, oh man, I used to love Pokemon back in the day, it's such a travesty to see what it turned out into, right? By doing it that way, people take you a little bit more seriously.
I mean, I didn't like Pokemon from back in the day, and I still don't like it now. I have tried playing them, and I couldn't get into them. But I still want to hear. He still hasn't mentioned how Pokemon has evolved. He said that it's evolved and it's changed. I mean, outside of what Edward said, going from, monochrome to color and going to 3D. I mean, how has it actually changed? Has anything actually changed? Yu-Gi-Oh is better than Pokemon? Oh, damn, shots fired. Oh shit. Body language experts. Covering his mouth means he could be hiding something or just feeling insecure. Or he's just sniffing his balls, mate. It could literally just be that. He could be sticking his hands down his pants, touching his balls, putting them back to his face, and having a good sniff. It can always be that.
But the issue is, they've been doing it so much and for so long that people are beginning to like start questioning their motives, right? Power World, I think, very well may be the beginning of the end of their credibility, because these people swore up and down that Power World was better than Pokemon, that it was completely original, that it was just way more successful than any Pokemon game. It's not. Like, they did everything they possibly could to try and prop this thing up, specifically to try and ruin Pokemon, ruin its like reputation among the gaming community, and yet it's not working, right? Like, it's crazy, like, over the past couple of days, just how the conversation has shifted. I'm seeing more and more people talk about Pokemon. I'm seeing more and more people acknowledge how good Scarlet and Violet actually is. Legends Arceus, I think, has finally gotten the mainstream recognition it deserves. The game of the year 2022 was...
Who talks about Arceus? I've literally heard no one talking about that game, like, ever. Outside of how poor it launched in terms of performance and bugs and the game crashing and everything. The only time I heard about that game was when it launched like as a colossal mess, missing half of the Pokemons on there. The Pokedex had like what, a quarter of the actual Pokemons? That was Arceus, right?
Was just heavily shafted when it first came out. You know, it was sandwiched between a highly anticipated remake and the new generation. Like a lot of people felt like it was bad timing, and I kind of agree with that. Like I don't know, like maybe they could have released Legends Arceus this year, right? Like maybe I don't know, maybe they wanted to release it alongside the remakes, but you know, whatever their like mindset was with the release timing, there's no denying that like Legends Arceus was amazing, right? That it was a top tier Pokemon game. That
My dude is sniffing some hell of copium, man. He is sniffing some hell of copium.
that by itself is better than anything Power World will ever accomplish, right? The entire argument that Pokemon doesn't innovate or change or evolve completely goes
CS6 is touching his Pokeballs.
out the window when you acknowledge that like Legends Arceus exists. And I know that a lot of people are like trying to damage control it, but in the end, it just ended up like collapsing among itself, right? And I do think this is going to be the problem that Power World is going to have, you know, come Pokemon Day and beyond, right? Like they're gonna have to compete with every single Pokemon product that comes out. Mobile games, the mainline games, you know, remakes, the anime, movies, you know, merchandise, the card game.
By the way, do you guys know that Pal World is releasing merch that, you know, has plushies or figurines for the creatures in the game? They're also releasing what looks like TCG cards. Yeah, it's coming, baby. It's coming.
You know, like they're gonna be competing with all of that. And people really think that selling like 8 million copies on Steam allegedly is gonna put a dent in what Pokemon manages in like an average generation. Like, come on, man. That's just not gonna happen. It's
The problem is, everyone is talking about Pal World and no one is talking about Pokemon. The only people that are talking about Pokemon are those that are fearing for its, you know, its reputation, its importance. Only those people are actually out here saying something.
it's just not going to work. And it was obvious to me from the start that this thing was like shilled and astroturfed and like people didn't want it to fail. People were like really, really dead set on this idea that Power World was going to be the next Pokemon. You know, just like they pushed Temtem, just like they pushed Yokai Watch, just like you know, just like everything else they push out there, right? You know, like it's crazy how these people claim to be such huge Pokemon fans, and yet they never seem to talk about the games. You know, they never seem to talk about like the future of the franchise or what we can expect in the next generation, or like their favorite types of Pokemon, or what their favorite games are, or you know, spin-off games they'd like to see return. Like, no, it's always this like weird thing where they go out and they say, "Oh, I want Pokemon to become like every other game that exists. You know, I want it to have guns. I want it to be realistic. I want it to be edgy. You know,
Who said that? Who said they want Pokemon to have guns? And by the way, Derek, you probably don't want the camera to go down. I've seen one of Alex's streams where this dude did have it down. His tops are so small. You see a little too much to you know, to give you mental scarring. But who said they wanted, you know, for Pokemon to go in that direction? They just want it to change, to evolve, to become better. They're bored of the same formula day in, day out.
now like Pokemon's not allowed to be itself. You know, because being itself is the highest grossing franchise in the world. Right? Like again, these are the kind of people that will never be happy no matter what you do. And Game Freak, the Pokemon company, and Nintendo are completely 100% justified when they tell these people that we are not taking you seriously. And that is kind of my mindset when it comes to like the anti-Pokemon community and the things we've been saying lately, because this is like the most active we've seen them since Dexit, I would say. You know, Scarlet and Violet, like the backlash to that didn't really take off the same way as it did for Sword and Shield. And it does kind of feel like the narrative is dying. And what it feels like to me is that it's not going to come back. You know, like I think after the next cup, I think
Which ones? They're all wonky. But I don't even think he's realizes what he's saying anymore. He's gone off on such a tangent that I think he's actually lost track of what he's actually saying at this point. I think he's just realized that he's talking so much rubbish. It's actually causing his brain to go into overdrive and he can't actually sustain it. And now he's just talking garbage. I think his brain has actually got to the point now where all but garbage is coming out.
I think after this current generation of people who like claimed, like after it becomes a stereotype to make fun of these kind of people, you know, people who just obsessively hate Pokemon for no reason. Like I think after that, it's going to be really hard to downplay the brand until it starts declining for real. You know, it's going to be a lot like Zelda in that way. Like I've mentioned this before, but it feels an awful lot. Pokemon feels like it's in the same position Nintendo was in 10 years ago with the Wii U, right? You know, Zelda and Mario were being downplayed. You know, Metroid was nowhere in sight. You know, everybody was like spurging out about every.
But no one is downplaying Pokemon. All they're saying that it's the same game over and over and over again. And what they're releasing is lazy garbage. You know, the Pokemon Company can release better games if they tried. You know, releasing a Pokemon with like a quarter of the overall Pokemons for the Switch. Come on, that's crazy.
Everything they were doing then with like Paper Mario and stuff like that. There were all these massive conspiracies.
How can you
know,
defend
things like
that?
the Mario mandate were like common terms that were being thrown around despite being obviously like not true at all, right? There were all these like things that happened in the community and they all just fell apart, right? They still exist to some capacity, but more and more I'm seeing people like start to debunk it and start to address that like, yeah, this stuff is really tiresome. Like again, I do think that like it is inevitable that this community will overplay its hand, that it will like do something that the audience doesn't like, and there will be like real conflict between the two groups. And I think Power World may be the beginning.
I mean, how can there be two conflicts between the groups when you said they're not even the same genre? They are a different genre. You admitted that yourself. How can you say that there's going to be a conflict between the two games if they are aiming for different groups of people?
Beginning of that. I do think we're witnessing the end of the anti-Pokemon community simply because they tried way, way too hard to pretend that Power World was a success.
That's
When it comes to reviewing,
that is ridiculous, right? That is, I don't even know what to say to that anymore. That is just like, huh? Huh? I mean, come on. I mean, I don't even know what the hell he's talking about at this point. That is like, wow, that take was absolutely weird. That was weird. I mean, that's Harmon for you, man. That is Harmon. That guy. How can you cap for a company? I mean, how can you be like falling over a company that much? I mean, I don't even know if he's doing it just for the sakes of it, but I can tell you this much. My dude has got 1.28k followers, and pretty much every one of us that are watching his videos are the ones that are making him, are the ones that are giving him views. But oh man, guy's special. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. All right, that's that. Finished recording. Oh, Jesus. That was a special. Have you seen some of the horrible stuff that Herman has said? Like, and I quote, George Floyd needed to be. Oh, really? That's horrible. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, CB94. Honestly, he looks like that type of guy. I don't want to stereotype anyway, but you know. But you know, his attitude stinks. His way of the way he's defending Pokemon is crazy. But that's pretty much all I have for today. Is there any other things you want me to check out in terms of videos? If not, tomorrow will be Gollum. We will be riding that train to Gollum around 7 p.m. UK time. That is roughly, it's 11 o'clock now, so 4 hours before now. That is when we're going to be checking out Gollum. I'm going to try and start at 7 p.m. That is the time I'm aiming for. And then at 10 o'clock, we are going to switch to the State of Play. Ah, the In Exile tweet. Yes, you mentioned that. In Exile. Do you know their actual thing? I guess it's this one over here. Xbox Game Studio. Thank you for Toilet Kazoo. The automaton cat is out of the bag. Happy to say that X-Volition formed the Shapeshifter Games has been working with us on at Clockwork Game. This one is special for us because of my long history with them going back to the Descent and Free Space games. And there you go, thing. Oh, no. Don't you dare hit the power button. Not while I'm coming to the end. Makes sense. Going from turn-based isometric RPGs to a first-person shooter RPG must be daunting. Wasteland free dildo. Fuck's sake. Welcome to Taco Tuesday. Sent me something on Discord. What is it? No. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I am not going to scar chat with that. You know, that is not going to happen. That is not going to happen, Taz. I am not doing that to my chat. Hey, there's Kong. Man, look at it. During the height of COVID, business was booming, man. Now you're curious? Okay. Can I actually? Yeah, you can. Since you're curious, this is what he sent me. This is Harmon Smith in his prime. Hey, you said you were curious, right? I'm just giving you what you wanted. I'm just delivering on what you wanted, buddy. Leaked footage of Puerto Rock desperately trying to call J-Dub for backup.
You gotta break the door! Are you gonna pay for it?
Mate, you gotta knock the fuck out. You gotta knock the fuck out. Hardware revenue was up by 3%. This means that they sold a good number of Xbox consoles because the Series consoles were heavily discounted over the holidays. Xbox is now the third largest business in Microsoft business. Xbox has moved beyond just a piece of plastic. I'm glad they are still making consoles for next gen, But for me, I'm about the games, and Xbox has the games. You know, I really don't know where this guy stands. He keeps on flip-flopping. Will Microsoft ABK acquisition go down as the largest blunder and mistake in US history? Well, this didn't age well, did it? This did not age well, J-Dub. This did not age well, J-Dub. Not. No! Sorry, my cat's foot was on the power button. He's got a habit of turning my PC off at the worst possible time. Vlad Judy is talking MLB The Show 24 is coming. It's available on Xbox Game Pass. What? Oh shit. Oh. That's funny. That's funny. The 5 stages of grief. Hey, I haven't made it into this yet, so I'm doing something that's fine. I mean, is he a shielder? That's the thing I don't get, because he kind of flip-flops around quite a bit. Is he pro Xbox, pro PC, pro PlayStation? I actually don't know. He does change about quite a bit. There's one last thing I wanted to check before we finish. No, there's the patch notes. That's Fallout. But the biggest patch today is here. Alright, let's just have a quick look at the Starfield patch notes. There seems to be a lot. Fixed players' characters' eyes remaining closed instead of blinking in third-person view. Addressed rare cases where small animation pops would mean third person. Holy shit, that's a lot of... What is your problem? Man, this cat is determined to turn my PC off. I think it's pretty much telling me to go feed him at this point. There's a lot here to go through. I'm not going to go through everything, but that's a ton of fixes. Improved contact shadows of first person. Ultra high. Shadows can now be seen on planet rings. Added support for stars displaying sun disk geometry. There's fixed various FSR2 and DLSS artifacts. Noise, black dots, ghosting. That's nice. Fixed flickering when using hand scanner with DLSS enabled. That's really, really good. Fixed lighting in 73 locations. Fixed a rare missing terrain issue. Fixed an issue that could cause bulldozed objects to reappear. Oh, I guess that's how many quests were bugged? Jesus. Absolute power, background checks, derelict ship, drinks on the house, echoes of the past. Holy shit, Eye of the Storm, executive level, failure to communicate, further into the unknown, ground pounder. That doesn't sound like an 80s movie, does it? Hostile intelligence, into the unknown, legacy's end, missed beyond measure, no sudden moves, on the run, one small step, Operation Starseed, power from beyond, rough landings, shadows in neon, Supra Ultra, tapping the grid, the best there is, empty nest, the heart of Mars. That's a long list. Fix some ship customizations, skills, rejuvenation, skill, VFX, visual effects, no longer replay whenever the hand scanner is open in third person. Surveying, fixed surveying, challenge progress issue with mineral resource. And targeting system controls, fixed inconsistencies with level 3 and 4. All right, that's a lot. I have lost, dude. You have no idea how many hours I've lost. There was times where I actually worked 2.5 hours on a video, and I didn't save and he just came and pressed the power button. I cried. I did. I was so annoyed. And the worst thing is, after he pressed the power button, he looked at me and he knew exactly what he did. And then he bolted. He bolted like I've never seen him bolt before. That's what I was trying to tell you that. In the past, he's been mostly pro Xbox. His videos are not great. He sounds like a used car salesman most of the time. I saw a clip from Nicolas Marseille, Mikase, or however you pronounce his surname. I can't remember it now. But it's like he said, if you want to play Xbox, you can start with an entry-level Series S, then go up to a Series X. If you want the best performance, you can go PC, or you can buy a handheld PCs and go that way. And it's like, it just sounded really weird. Hey, streaming channel, how's it going? I'm doing good, thanks. Just about to wrap up, actually. Is hungry time to feed? Pretty much blue. I had to restart my save multiple times due to quest bugs. That's awful. Why, I have 80 hours in game? Yeah. Cat being a butthole. My Yorkie does the same thing to my laptop. It's like the yesterday. I'm working on my laptop for work. I go away to the kitchen to get a glass of water. I come back, and I see him sitting on the actual keypad, and his paws going like this constantly. And what he's doing, he's sending my project manager a bunch of random characters. He just kept on sending messages to my project manager, because every time where he was pressing his paw, because it was bouncing, he just kept on hitting it, and because his ass was sitting on a bunch of characters, it was just sending gibberish. That was a fun conversation to have. Ruddy cats. They just don't know when to stop. But folks, that's going to be it. Tomorrow we're going to be back with Gollum. I hope you enjoy it. You wanted it. I'm making it happen. I'm not saying I'm happy about it. I'm going to be, traumatized for a while, but it's happening. But thanks so much for hanging out tonight. I appreciate it. And I'll see you all tomorrow for this disastrous stream. And then, like I said, we will finish up the stream with a state of play and my opinion on it. And then that will be it. Feed me. Right, folks, that's it. Have a great one. And I'll see you next time. Peace out and remain legend. Don't forget, you can join my Discord. Taz has put the link down, but there should be one in the description below as well. You'll also find a Discord link underneath every single video I put, that I've pushed out, in the description below. So if you want to join my Discord and just, continue the conversation like a lot of you have from here, feel free to join. There is no paywall to join my Discord. It's all open. Or you can just follow me on social media, where I just trash talk a bit and post some cool stuff and not some cool stuff. But that's it. Have a good one, folks. Good night.